Right, good morning everyone and welcome to the Licensing Subcommittee this morning. Apologies to keep you waiting, we were hoping to have at least one other person in the room, but it's not transpired, so we will proceed with the meeting, and we'll start off with some quick introductions. I'm David Barker, I'm chairing the subcommittee this morning. To my left are the members of the committee who will introduce themselves. Councillor Ian Horner.
Morning, I'm Councillor Cliff Woodcraft.
And you'll notice a number of other people sitting around the table who are the officers who are working with us this morning and keeping us on the straight and narrow. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Good morning, Samantha Bond, Legal Advisor to the subcommittee. Oh, sorry, I said it.
Mitchell Wibley, also Legal Advisor to the subcommittee.
Shemla Finch from the Licensing Service. I'll be presenting the report today.
Philippa Burdett, Democratic Services.
And could I ask you all just to introduce yourselves just for the record as well, please?
I'll start that again. Good morning, my name is John O'Malley, I'm the Liquor Licensing Manager for South Yorkshire Police. Good morning, Julie.
Oh, good morning, I'm Julie Haig, I'm the Safeguarding Licensing Manager for the Safeguarding Children Partnership.
Good morning, I'm Vincent Blake Barnard, I'm Councillor, I'm here to represent South Yorkshire Police.
Catherine Jarvis, Police Licensing Officer for Sheffield.
Good morning, my name is Gareth Barrett, I'm a Licensing Enforcement Officer for Sheffield City Council Licensing Service.
Thank you, and again, welcome to the meeting this morning. There's a set procedure for these meetings, and to save me having to read things out in public, which is great, at number 4 on there you will see it says, the solicitor to the committee will outline the procedure. So, Sam, could I ask you to outline the procedure, please?
Thank you, Chair. Scooch over a little bit. Has everyone got a copy of the papers that they can see? Lovely. So the Licensing Officer, Shimla, this morning will introduce the report. If there are any questions concerning the report, that's the time for those to be raised by members and other parties present. We'll then turn over to the applicant for review to detail the application. So that's Gareth Barrett on behalf of the Licensing Service. There'll then be an opportunity for members to ask questions. We'll then head over to the representatives for South Yorkshire Police to detail their relevant representations and to expand on what's been submitted in the report that we've all had a copy of. Again, members will have an opportunity for questions. As the Chair highlighted before, the premises licence holder isn't present today. We have sort of waited and given a little bit of time for her to turn up, but we've not had any contact to say otherwise, so we're going to proceed in her absence this morning. So everybody will have an opportunity to sum up once we've done with questions. We'll then take the options as listed in the report from Shimla. We'll then go into private session while members take legal advice and consider the application. And we'll then give the decision a little bit later on this morning, this afternoon, depending how things go. The decision of the Licensing Committee will be given in accordance with the requirements of the Licensing Act 2003 and regulations made thereunder. At any time during the hearing, members may request legal advice, which we can either do in open session as we are now, or private, where we would just ask you to pop out, and then we'll invite you back in and feedback what that advice was in the discussion that was had. And the hearing is in public this morning, so by way of live webcast, and there's no one else present in the room. And that should be everything. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sam. And I failed to admit that. I think you picked it up. If you are speaking, if you could put the microphone on, because it helps with the public recording of this and also with my hearing, which is as bad as my eyesight these days. So if we're happy with that process, could we have the report then, please?
Thank you, Chair. This report is to consider an application for review of a premises licence in relation to Jurassica 71 Monteney Crescent, Sheffield. The review was submitted by the Licensing Authority on the 19th of October 2023 due to breaches of the Licensing Act and breaches of the licensing conditions as detailed in paragraph 2.1 of the report. Site visits with various agencies have been conducted on the premises following reported incidents which has led to compliance checks. Warning letters of further visits have been carried out throughout 2023 and an action plan was drafted to assist the premises in complying with their conditions and responsibilities. Further complaints have been received alleging the premises are operating beyond the permitted hours and the licence holder has been unable to provide CCTV footage. The Licensing Authority, in its review submission, details how the licence holder and the designated premises supervisor have failed to promote the licence and objectives due to the breaches. Full details of the concerns and issues raised are detailed in the application document at Appendix A. During the consultation period, further representations have been submitted by Sheffield Children's Safeguarding Partnership and South Yorkshire Police. These are attached at Appendix C. All parties have been invited to the hearing. Notices are attached at Appendix D. All parties have confirmed attendance, although licensee has not appeared today. There are no specific financial implications arising from this application. However, additional costs may be incurred if the matter goes to appeal. The legal position is detailed in paragraph 5 of the report, and it's recommended that members carefully consider the application for the review, along with any other representations made, and take such steps as detailed in paragraph 5.2 of that the committee consider necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Shimla. Have members got any questions regarding the report? Does the applicant have any questions regarding the report?
No, Chair.
Do the responsible authorities have any questions regarding the report?
No.
Excellent. Then it's over to the applicant to detail your application to us this morning.
Thank you, Chair. Again, my name is Gareth Barrett. I'm responsible for ensuring that licensed premises comply with both licence conditions and operating times. Excuse me. We're first alerted to the premises known as Jurassica following a report of a child that was injured during an alleged fight that was undertaken on the 18th of December of 2022. Just before I go any further, Chair, just want to highlight I've provided further supporting statements which was dated the 7th of December 22. Just for clarity, it's actually my visit was on the 7th of December 2023, so just for clarity, that statement that you have in front of you now what was for this year. So just going on from there, myself and Catherine Jarvis from Police Licensing, we work very closely together as responsible authorities, which we undertook a visit to the premises on the 23rd of December 2022. Following that visit, there was a number of licence breaches that's pertained under Annex 2 of the premises licence. This ranged from the lack of safeguarding measures down to more minor breaches in relation to inadequate signage, respecting the needs, reminding members of the public to respect the needs of the residents and leave the area quietly. Following the visit, I issued a formal warning letter to the licensee and DPS Chantal Signa on the 19th of January 2023. The warning letter outlined all of the breaches that was noted during the visit on the 23rd of December, which also gave an additional 10 working days for Ms Signa to address all of the breaches and provide documentary evidence back to myself that she is now in compliance with her licence conditions. Unfortunately, we didn't receive those documents from Ms Signa. She failed to engage with us, in which we then issued a voluntary action plan to address the breaches, the latest one being on the 10th of April 2023, is that we needed all of the documents to show that she's in compliance with the licence conditions. Again, unfortunately, she had failure to engage with us to provide those documentations, made various reasons as to why she's not complied with those conditions. Again, myself and Catherine undertook a joint visit on the 26th of April 2023, in which we found that she was still breaching several conditions, in which we then provided additional time until the 5th of May to complete the action plan and ensure that she's in compliance with her licence. Unfortunately, again, during this time she's failed to engage with us, provide documentation to show that she's complying with her licence, in which Catherine has made several attempts over the months. We're almost 12 months since the first incident that was reported to us, and we still don't have the documents to show that she's in compliance. In addition to that, during this period, we've also received allegations of the premises afterbirding, which is operating beyond her licensable times. We've asked on several occasions to provide CCTV footage for the incident days that's been reported. Again, she's been unable to provide CCTV evidence to negate any of those allegations. There's also been very serious incidents involving the South Yorkshire Police, in which they've asked for CCTV footage. And again, to my knowledge, to this day, that information has not been provided. Sorry, Chair, would you like me to hold while... yeah.
I mean, do something without legal advice. Go on to get yourself in trouble again. And shall we just redo the introductions, just show you know who he is. But firstly, welcome to the Licensing Subcommittee this morning. I'm David Barker, I'm chairing the subcommittee. The members of the subcommittee are to my left and will introduce themselves.
Councillor Ian Horner.
Councillor Cliff Woodcraft.
And then we have a number of council officers with us who are working with us this morning. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, please.
Samantha Bond, Legal Advisor to the subcommittee. Oh, sorry.
Again. I'm Mitchell Wibley, also Legal Advisor to the subcommittee.
I'm Shimla Finch, I'm from the Licensing Service and I presented the report today.
I'm Philippa Bidette from Democratic Services.
And you'll see several other people around the table. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Good morning, I'm John O'Malley, I'm the Liquor Licensing Manager for South Yorkshire Police.
Hello, I'm Vincent Blake Barnard, Councillor representing South Yorkshire Police.
Morning, Chantal. Catherine Jarvis, Police Licensing Officer.
Good morning, my name is Gareth Barrett. I'm a Licensing Enforcement and Technical Officer for Licensing Service.
And technology even allows other people to join us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, Julie Haig, Safeguarding Licensing Manager.
Just for the record, just want to confirm your name.
My name is Miss
Chair. So again, just to reiterate, my name is Gareth Barrett. I'm responsible for ensuring licensed premises comply with both the licence conditions and operating times. We had initial reports received of a child that was injured during an alleged fight that was undertaken on an event on the 18th of December 2022. Following that report, a joint visit was made with Catherine Jarvis from South Yorkshire Police. This was undertaken on the 23rd of December 2022. Following that visit, there was a number of breaches under the premise licence Annex 2, in which a follow-up warning letter was issued on the 19th of January to Miss Sinia as a licensing DPS, which highlighted all of the all of the breaches, and that they must be addressed within the next 10 working days following the letter. Unfortunately, Ms Sinia failed to provide evidence of compliance with the licence conditions, in which an action plan was issued by Catherine Jarvis and myself, in line with Ms Sinia to make sure that Ms Sinia actually addresses the breaches, and that the last action plan needs to be completed by the 10th of April 2023, no later. Unfortunately, Ms Sinia failed to provide evidence of compliance with the licence conditions, in which we undertook, again, myself and Catherine, undertook a joint visit on the 26th of April to speak to Ms Sinia in relation to compliance, in which we still found that there were several breaches of Ms Sinia's licence conditions, in which we gave an additional time until the 5th of May 2023 in order to complete. Unfortunately, since this time, Catherine Jarvis has made several incidents reported to South Yorkshire Police, in which Ms Sinia has failed to provide CCTV to negate some of those issues, including allegations of afterburden, which is operating beyond the licensable times. Again, we've asked for this information on several occasions, which would negate any allegations made, in which to this day we've not received any footage to show that that she's complying with her licence conditions and that this operating with her licensable times. On the 7th of December of this year, I undertook a full licence inspection following today's hearing, again to check that Ms Sinia is compliant with her licence conditions. Now, although Ms Sinia wasn't present at the premises at the time, a Mr Richard Askin was present, who's the reported as the bar manager and running the premises when Miss Senior is not at the premises. Now we went through the full licence inspection with Mr Askin. As he's claimed to be one of the managers, he should have day-to-day running of the premises and have access to various documents, including any safeguarding risk assessments, staff training. So we went through all of the licence conditions, which is attached to my statement, dated the 7th of December of this year. And unfortunately, there's still outstanding breaching licence conditions. As I said, they range from minor conditions in relation to appropriate signage advising members of public to respect the needs of the neighbours and leave the area quietly, down to more serious conditions in relation to not having a refusals log made available to show that they are undertaking the Challenge 25 policies, that they are making appropriate refusals and the reasons for any refusals. In addition to that, there is a condition relating to CCTV, that management will have access to CCTV and it can be provided to responsible authorities upon request. Mr Askin has advised that he doesn't have access to the CCTV, coming up to 12 months to comply with the licence conditions, in which we are still almost in the same position, that there's non-compliance of the licence conditions. And it's my view that Miss Senior is unable to ensure that the premises remain safe for any persons attending, and that we request full revocation of the licence.
Thank you, that's helpful. Have members got any questions for the applicant? Cliff, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. The drinking outside of the licensed hours, evidence wasn't able to be provided to confirm that wasn't happening. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We've requested the footage so we could see, the operating times, whether any transactions were undertaken outside of the licensable times. We requested that footage on a number of occasions in which we've to this date, we've still not got that footage available.
So, Mr Askin was unable to provide it, and you made the request also of Miss Senior, was that right?
That's correct. So we requested footage of the particular dates that the alleged incidents have taken place. We request that from Miss Senior as the licensing DPS, but she had failed to provide that information. When I attended on
is the refusals book now in place?
Following my visit on the 7th of December, there's still no refusals book in place. When asked to Mr Askin as to why the refusals book is not in place, as we've previously requested that there needs to be one readily available, his reasons behind that is that he would write the refusals on a piece of paper, write all of the information on a piece of paper, and then he would have a meeting with Miss Senior to discuss the refusals, in which she would then place that within a refusals book. Unfortunately, the actual licence conditions state that refusals log should be readily available.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Ian, is there anything you'd like to ask? When you do premises visits like this, what's the normal? I mean, how do you tell the licensee how much notice do they get? What attempts did you make to contact them, etc.?
Usually where we have reports of licence breaches or problems with a premise, we would normally undertake a full licence inspection in which we would check all of the conditions. We'll ensure that the timings, that the licensee is aware of their operating times. And from there we would normally give 10 working days for the licensee to address the breaches and provide evidence U-tend. But other than that, the conditions are fairly simple conditions in relation to Challenge 25 schemes. The use of door staff will be risk assessed. And that, again, glass alternative drinking vessels will be utilised within their own risk assessment. So my rambling point is that most of these conditions are easy to comply with and just would require a couple of days to go through them and prepare the correct risk assessments.
And then just finally from me, I'm almost off the hook, I think, but is there anything in the action plan that you've provided to the premises? Was that purely aimed at ensuring compliance with the current conditions, or were there things in there that were over and above the current conditions?
The majority of the action plan was in order to comply with the licence conditions, which are the conditions under Annex 2 of the premises licence. Now, there was an additional couple of items on there, which is action point 11. All staff to attend safeguarding training provided by the responsible authorities. Catherine provided the email to the training course in which that Chantal would have. They are very good tools in ensuring that the premises keeps the area sterile, that if there's any violent incidents, that the police can attend there and obtain the correct forensics. So it's just ensuring that their staff are fully aware on what the violent incident protocol is in relation to not cleaning up the scene, basically, and keeping away from members of the public. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Chantal, have you any questions for the licence? And this is just questions at this stage, because you'll have every opportunity later to respond to everything that's been said or written down about you. So.
Sorry, thank you. Now, I just noticed with some of the things that you were saying just then, Gareth, with regards to not doing like the safeguarding course that you recommended. I actually did attend that and gained the certificate from, sorry, I forgot the lady's name on the screen, Julie, from Julie. So I did attend that. With regards to the CCTV and stuff, I've been working I'm used to technology, as you can see, just press the button, quite difficult. So I've been trying to see. I find when something people like to wait on, no matter how times I need this excuse. Unfortunately, financial, I'm struggling with, so I'll pay some guarantee got it fixed when I moved it. Get that back. As well. Out of hospital, his evidence, and then when for all the TV from against, which I do resolved, and it did result in a new hard drive because it wasn't going back to dates, it weren't even recording, and unfortunately for me, I didn't realise that until all this has like gone to Black Court and stuff, so I've tried to get it back. Honestly, I've sat and cried about the CCTV system because it's just beyond my control, and unfortunately I'm like a dinosaur with a dinosaur pub. I don't really get paperwork and stuff. I'm suffered with dyslexia as well, so it's a bit overwhelming for me.
Right. We've noted all, and you'll have a chance to go into more detail.
No, that was just on what they were saying.
To say at this stage, if you can limit yourself to questions, then you'll have as long as you require to go through all the reasons and all your defences. But thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
We have noted it.
Sorry, just a quick one from me, Gareth. Obviously, you undertake quite a lot of licence checks in various different premises across the city, so pubs, clubs, nightclubs. In your experience of working with licensed premises, if issues are identified, is it quite common that they result in this situation, or are they rectified after the warning letter or after the action plan? What's sort of the most common thing that tends to happen? How is it resolved?
Usually following any action plan, and to be fair, usually following any warning letter, usually resolves the situation that the licensee addresses all of the licence breaches, in which there's no further action required at that point. As I say, it's very rare that we have to provide a voluntary action plan, but as of my 6 years' experience, we've only issued one action plan in which the licensee has failed to address those continually, in which we've...
Thank you. So we'll now move on to the responsible authorities. I was going to take safeguarding first because I was going to say I don't trust the technology and so we'll get it while it's working, but as it appears not to be, we do appear to have lost Julie. So could I ask South Yorkshire Police to give your representations, please?
Yes, certainly. Obviously, I'm counsel for South Yorkshire Police, and anything I do miss, I will be seeking to be amplified on and corrected on. Chair and members of the committee, from the South Yorkshire Police perspective, obviously we have the 4 licences and objectives. Normally, it would be the prevention of crime, disorder, public safety and nuisance, but in this particular one we'd also sort of put on the hat, without stealing the thunder, of children's services, of the preventing harm to children. The reason why I raised that is, although this licence was originally gained in April 2021, the main trigger for this was the 18th of December incident that has been touched upon. And maybe to amplify that a little bit, effectively, and we refer to a child, the child was 17 years of age, and within the incident log it refers to an incident with a 40-year-old who had thrown him onto a table, and because of that he had then cut his hand on glass. Within the incident log, again, it refers to football teams, between football teams. Now, it's somewhat inconsistent with the conversation that was had with the licence holder, where they said she had identified, actually it was by somebody called Jessica, who was looking after the place on the day, that this was like a tussle, like a wrestle, trying to put it in a more of a light-hearted way. It's somewhat inconsistent with what was actually put on the incident log, and we rang in after midnight. It was after midnight. There's no risk assessment. The venue itself caters and attracts a younger audience, younger people, because there's a reference to almost like a dinosaur theme, maybe not 17-year-olds, but generally younger people, and raises particular concerns when we set down a situation where there is no risk assessment, there's no issues assessments of plastic glasses, there's not an under 25 challenge scheme of which I have no doubt you're going to be very, very familiar with, and no assessment on whether there was any door supervisors undertaken. As we all know, any sort of 17-year-olds in any of these venues, if they can't buy drink by a proxy, i.e., they will probably smuggle in the alcohol themselves. And I think there's some reference to the empty bottles of vodka being found in the toilets. So again, it heightens the necessity and the importance, particularly with looking after children and all the other elements. I don't intend to go into much more detail because I think it's been covered quite substantially about the meeting and the action plan that's been put into place. And again, that is identified within the document and the systematic failings to actually comply with that relatively simple documents. But what did come apparent on, I think it was the 23rd, the visit was undertaken after the incident on the 18th, is that somebody called Jessica had been put in charge, and Chantal was effectively unwell and hadn't been really engaging in the property for some...
I think her name's Joanne.
Joanne, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why I could read. Yes. Joanne. So we have that sort of deficiency and lack of focus and lack of care. Moving forward, I know the point has been touched upon about only quite recently finding out about the CCTV. The CCTV has been an on-running issue for over 12 months. To actually try to use the excuse that's only been put forward today raises concerns itself about the attitude towards quite a few of these sort of reviews with other authorities, is that they're going quite hard, quite fast, But I think, and I'm reading through the representations that's been made by Chantal, that an awful lot of leeway and flexibility has been put into place to try to work with this premises to get it back online. But that simply hasn't been achieved. So moving forward to where we are on the various incidents. Now, there was an incident, so we set up with the incident logs, 29th of April, with an incident refusing access to an ex and a brother on the premises. This is an individual that's rang in. Then we move forward to the 20th of August, where there was an incident, a report of a lock-in. And again, this is beyond midnight, with reports of drug taking and being sold from the premises. That again, another allegation was being made on the 24th of September, and this was a report that the premises was open at 2:16 in the morning, and again, drinking and drug taking place on the premises. A further incident on the 11th of October, where there was a report of lock-ins and drinking and drugs being undertaken on the premises. And I believe then on the 13th of October, we have an incident where I believe there was cannabis identified and smelt at the premises. Not clear, was that a visit or was that a...
That was a street safe visit by the city centre van. We tasked them with visiting premises of concern or premises that we want to support.
Reported where the slot machine was attacked with somebody coming in with a knife and a hammer. When the police investigated, made door-to-door inquiries about CCTV, etc., a report was made that the individual who attacked it was still in the premises. All of these incidents, all of these triggers have triggered a request for CCTV to be able to identify what's taken place. And on each occasion, there's been various excuses made, hard drives been taken away, etc., and simply being systematically evasive on the providing of any of this information to demonstrate the legitimacy, particularly of serving of any problems and reports of drugs, etc. That combined with the inability to simply create proper systems obviously raises concern from South Yorkshire Police and feels that all four of the relevant objectives effectively have failed to be complied with. We have an on-running problem here, and every situation, every opportunity has been given, but South Yorkshire Police does not believe that Chantal is a capable individual to run this premises and to comply with the four objectives, no matter what additional conditions are imposed, because everything has been imposed, even the simplest, apart from, I think there may be one or two, have simply not been complied with. Is there any other point you think I need to amplify?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just make a comment, please? Sorry.
Very welcome, yeah.
As Gareth stated, I think we've worked as much as we possibly can with this premise. I've been licensing manager for 8 years, and this has took most time of any premise in South Yorkshire in my 8 years. We've been offering advice, constant advice, and we're also here to support premises rather than just take action. So I feel we've done as much as we physically can.
Thank you. Do members have any questions? Ian, would you like to start us off if there's anything you'd like to ask South Yorkshire Police?
So essentially what you're saying is that you tried very hard to engage and to help Chantal to comply with the regulations, probably more so than almost anywhere else you've ever dealt with. Is that the thrust of what you're saying?
Yeah, correct.
I'd just like to add to that, obviously, because it's myself and Gareth and Julie that have been engaging with Chantal since December of last year. We gave the verbal advice at our visit on the 23rd I followed that up on the 29th of December with an email fully detailing everything in advance. Again, in my email, if she has any questions or any concerns or she wants any help doing anything, she had all of our emails because we were all included in that email to her. She was invited on the safeguarding training course for February, but failed to attend the February one. So she didn't attend that one. Our next visit on the 26th, Chantal advised that she'd had numerous issues with laptops or things had been stolen, laptops had been stolen, and that she struggled to get all the documents that I'd sent on the original email. So I actually sent everything, I printed everything out for her at our office and posted everything that she would need, as well as re-emailing her again because she'd managed to get her laptop sorted. So she's had everything sent multiple times in different ways, and I also confirmed within the WhatsApp messages that she'd definitely received the pack, which she said she had, and she was working through it, which was obviously ready for our next visit in April, which when we attended, one or two of the items had been done, but the majority hadn't been. So, and again, she expressed that she'd had a lot of personal difficulties, the dyslexia, and asked for some more time, and assured us that if we were to grant her more time on this occasion, that those things would be completed. So that's why we then decided to give that extension again. And Chantal did attend the April safeguarding training. She had some issues logging on, which you contacted me about 10 minutes before the actual start time, and we worked together to get you on to the training, and you did attend that training. But there has been requests for other staff to attend the training which haven't attained attendance. Just wanted to clarify that the help.
Just look at, do I get a sense from what these incidents as well that when there have been various incidents, it's not entirely clear who's in charge of the premises at that time?
The record from the various sort of incident logs, I think it's fair to say that there was a number of visits to the premises at probably 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and there was no instance identified from those visits. Obviously, everything that we have got has been from reports made by members of the public. But
clear up, and I might be wrong on this. You made a comment that under 18 shouldn't be in licensed premises after 9 o'clock. Am I right in thinking that if they're with a responsible adult, they are allowed in? Just to clarify that.
Yes, on condition 13. Persons under the age of 18 are not permitted after 9 o'clock hours, 2100 hours, unless accompanied by a reasonable adult and attended a pre-booked family-type function or dine-in. Now, that's substantially different to a 18-year-old party, which I think is what was touched upon on the 18th of December, which was slightly inconsistent with the Insta log, which said it was 2 football teams.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Just a couple of things from me, just put things in context. You say you received, that there have been reports received of out-of-hours drinking in this pub, drug taking, drug dealing. How is this sort of out of line with what you would expect for general premises? Do you receive a lot of reports of these sort of activities at premises, or is this an outlier here?
No, it's not unusual. We do get a lot of reports, and hence the great system when you've got CCTV to disprove any allegations, and that's the first thing we'd look at. We go do a visit. Is this correct? Can we check that time on your CCTV? But allegations, giving you knowledge of the premises. I'll let Catherine answer that. She's been a lot more involved with the incidents than I have.
I made a lot of inquiries, so although a lot of the reports were anonymous, they still had a mobile phone number attached to those reports. I've contacted everybody that from the mobile numbers to speak to them, because I was aware that Chantel believes strongly in her opinion that these are ex-partners trying to cause problems for her. By going through all of our records, I've been able to use the mobile phone numbers against our system to see who those phones are registered to, and I have had, as I say, a conversation. There is a phone number for 3 of the incidents, which is the same phone number, but one's a male, one's a female. I have spoken to those people. They are not the ex-partners. There's no records that they're linked to the ex-partners either. I've looked on our systems, but family members linked to the ex-partners as well, and can't find any connections. So I'm not saying that it couldn't possibly be that he's got somebody, an ex-partner has got somebody to phone up and make a report. But the person that I've spoken to has assured me that they've got nothing to do with it, that they have been a customer in the pub themselves, and the things that they've reported are things that they've witnessed themselves. And the reason they've remained anonymous is because they were in fear of anybody finding out that they'd put the complaint in. I've put that in my statement, which was the extra bundle that was sent on Friday last week. So I've written that as a statement in there to clarify that point, that we have made every effort to check.
Thank you. Sam,
I think the last review that I was personally involved in was around about January of this year, so that I haven't been involved in any other ones this year. We've currently got, 19 action plans for this year that we've put premises on, and we've got, I think, 13 still outstanding. The others have all completed. Generally, a lot of the issues that I deal with can be dealt with by a phone call and verbal advice over the phone, and that resolves an issue. Sometimes it's a visit, sometimes it's through pub watch that I attend and I deal with incidents that way. If it does get to the point where we need an action plan, usually at the end of that action plan we have got full compliance. As I say, it is very unusual to have an action plan in place for this length of time as well. Usually the maximum is around about 3 months. We do take into account sometimes if licensees are relying on outside companies, especially during the COVID period, getting hold of materials and engineers for various things was always very difficult, so we could extend times, and that is actually spoken about, because it is a voluntary action plan. We ask them, we would like you to go on this action plan, we want to support you, so by putting it in writing in a document, we supply you with things to help you, we can support you through that, but you need to engage with us as well. So it is voluntary, it's not something we can just put a premise on without their compliance. And it is always explained to the people that we put on action plans that if there's anything at any point they don't understand, they must get in touch with us. What we don't want is to go to our next appointed visit to check on the progress of an action plan, and then for licensees to turn around and say, well, I expressed as well, that we are here to help, and everybody's emails and phone numbers are all included, and obviously we are available. And as you can tell with this particular case, I've had a lot of contact with Chantel over the months, supporting her and helping her and getting her onto the safeguarding training course and getting logged in. So we have had that conversations, and I am here and she knows I'm here, as well as Gareth and Julie, and she hasn't approached us to say that she's struggled with any particular aspect. I know risk assessments can be very difficult, but Julie again offers her services to help, and she has done on previous action plans, gone back out to her premise on her own and worked through a risk assessment, safeguarding risk assessment with them, so there is help and support. We don't just say here, do it, and then sort of walk away. Does that answer you?
It does, yeah, that's really helpful, thank you. I did think of another one, sorry. Just to follow on from that, so a lot of the contact with Chantel, has it been reactive, or have you had, either of you, I guess, sort of contact from her, sort of saying, help, I don't get this, or I need a bit longer with this, or has it been you sort of saying, have we done this, can I have a look?
It's been myself mainly, making contact with Chantal to arrange to go out and go over the action plan, and then she might come back with issues, or once we actually turn up, then the issues are identified. Obviously, we were trying to arrange a visit to view the CCTV for the complaints, and for one reason or another, Chantal wasn't able to see us, so I agreed that she could just send the footage, in details of the CCTV engineer, what's the company, and I've got the contact name and phone number, so I could ring them myself to clarify the situation with the CCTV, but that wasn't provided.
Do you have any questions for the police? And again, it's questions. You'll have ample opportunity to respond to everything that's being said, but it's just questions at this stage. Well, we'll certainly ensure you get plenty of time to compose yourself before you get the opportunity to respond. So
That's all right.
there's only safeguarding to go now, and then we can we'll pass over to you. So, if Julie's online, would you like to give us your representation? Thanks, Julie.
I will, thank you, Chair. Can everyone hear me well enough? Lovely, thank you. I'm going to start by saying it's with some disappointment that we're here today. But as a responsible authority for the protection of children from harm, the Safeguarding Children Partnership has made a representation to address concerns about the inconsistency in management arrangements and non-compliance with licence conditions. The conditions on the licence were attached to the premises licence by the licensing authority to specifically uphold the core objective for the protection of children from harm, and that's to ensure a safe, family-friendly environment for children. And the issue for us, which makes this case different to other pubs, is that Jurassica it's a themed pub. It's got a dinosaur theme. It's designed specifically to attract children and families. And Jurassica routinely hosts children. They have children's parties. Families can stay in the pub under the current licence conditions until 9. The venue is also used by adults, so they host private parties, and alcohol sales are a routine part of the business. So because of the style and character of the premises, we need to be reassured that the conditions that are attached to ensure that safe and suitable environment are complied with. If the conditions have been complied with, and we've heard already today, the materials have been supplied, the posters are there on the walls, the conditions are there on the licence. If all of that had been complied with, we wouldn't be here as a safeguarding partnership. We wouldn't be making this representation. So our concerns are around compliance and consistency. Enforcement policies require strong and consistent management. This is the responsibility of the licence holder and the DPS, Chantal. The evidence presented in this review is that the conditions are not being complied with, and that's a significant concern. The premises first came to my attention a year ago now, when, along with police and licensing colleagues, we had a meeting with Chantal, the DPS, to discuss what safeguarding policies and procedures were in place. Now, that was in response to an incident involving a 17-year-old. He was at the premises until gone midnight and came to harm during a party. And at that meeting a year ago, I urged Chantal then to undertake a safeguarding risk assessment immediately, with lots of support, lots of offers, ring me, contact me, I'll come back if you're struggling with that risk assessment. The purpose of the risk assessment is to get the DPS and their staff thinking, identifying what risks might happen, particularly of complex premises where you've got adults and adult type activities alongside children. So they do the risk assessment, and then they're A, aware, and B, they can operate the necessary policies. So that was advised along with an urge for Chantal and her staff to attend the next available training, which was 9th of February. Unfortunately, Chantal didn't prioritise attendance at that training. Eventually she came along in April, but the concern there is the lack of prioritisation in the context of the premises being a children's pub, if you like. So for me, that was a real concern. Unfortunately, due to Chantal's lack of presence on a day-to-day basis over subsequent months, concerns have escalated. There doesn't appear to be any consistent control of the premises. Compliance has been monitored over the past few months by police and licensing officers, and I was asked to revisit on the 5th of October, and that was in response to concerns about, again, that lack of consistent management and drug dealing, drug use at the premises. So we went back to the pub on the 5th of October. We did an unannounced visit just to see what was going on if we dropped in. And during that visit, again, Chantal wasn't available. She wasn't present. There was a duty manager, Mr. Richard Askham, who said Chantal wasn't at the premises because, and it's a quote, she has a lot on. She was running an event elsewhere. And that's been the kind of theme of the concerns over the past 12 months. I did discuss safeguarding policies with Mr. Askham to see if he had any control or idea about the safeguarding arrangements. There were 2 children in the premises during that visit. Mr. Askham couldn't find a refusals book. He couldn't access a copy of the safeguarding risk assessment. He didn't seem to know what I was talking about. And when I asked about the drugs policy, he said that he operates a zero tolerance to drugs policy at all times. In light of the concerns about 18th birthday parties, inconsistent management arrangements, more recently about drug dealing, violence, that's between August and October 2023, the Safeguarding Partnership's become increasingly concerned about the operational standards that would be required to run a pub designed specifically for children and families. So we are concerned that the current arrangements are inadequate to mitigate the risks presented that are associated with drug use, drug dealing and violence. We therefore are asking the licensing committee today to please take some positive action to address those risks. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members got any questions, starting with Cliff? Anything for safeguarding?
Not at this moment, Chair. Thank you.
Ian?
So the same question I asked previously, really. Just to reinforce again, what you're saying is that it's never clear who exactly is in charge of the premises and whether the person in charge of the premises on a given day has got any idea about a range of policies. Is that correct?
Yes. I arguably, if we were confident that Chantal was there the whole time, every day, because she's done the training, she does have some safeguarding awareness. But without the implementation of the policies, the licence conditions, that becomes meaningless and a concern.
Not much from me, Julie. You did cover this, but just for absolute clarity, do you feel it would be possible to run under premises with this sort of business model being appealing to younger people and children with the conditions that are placed on the licence? Do you think it would be possible to run it safely?
As a different culture, it appears to be more adult orientated. So I think there needs to be a culture change, possibly where children aren't allowed in for a period of time until they've sorted out the issues, got some consistent management, got their act together. So it's possible, but there's no evidence or reassurance at the minute that that's happening, which is a real concern.
Thank you. Sam, is there anything you'd like to ask safeguarding.
Have we got premises similar to this across the city where it's sort of a mixed use where, I mean, not specifically sort of children themed, but do you know what I mean? I'm not sort of aware of any similar, but you probably are.
Yeah, we have a number of premises that are family friendly, happily so. People will come along on the training, take up the offers, the training's free. They'll ask for extra places for their staff. They'll comply. I think most premises or licence holders where they invite children on recognise that you've got to have that commitment to the family friendly environment, and that's what's lacking in this case. So it's not unusual for children to be in pubs. That's something we encourage in Sheffield, as long as it's done responsibly and safely.
That's helpful, thank you.
Again, Chantal, is there anything you'd like to ask Julie from Safeguarding?
Hi, Julie. Just with regards to going back to the training and stuff, I know that I did that one course with you. I didn't really I got much from that course with regards to staffing and stuff. I know you said that you wanted my staff to do the course. Obviously, we've just got no staff at the minute to do the course, but I did want to put my staff. Everything's changing with Jurassica because you've just made a lot of comments that I totally agree with regards to it has turned into more of an adult environment, because I must stress as well that we've not served any food or done any children's parties for the best part of 6 to 9 months because my kitchen has been closed down by health and safety. But moving forward, opening up, again, hopefully doing food within the new year, because the badly damaged building is not going to get repaired before then. So would the training courses still be available for my staff moving forward? Because we do employ a lot of mixed ages with staff, and I know that there is quite a few people that I would like myself to put through safeguarding and things moving forward.
The session is always available, so it's available to as many people. I think I've said this before, Chantal, but it's open, it's free, and we welcome the number of places are unlimited for anyone, any licensee who wants to bring their staff. In fact, we are currently paying some money to have it developed into an online resource so that licensees can access it 24/7 as they wish, and we're doing that with the police. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Getting the hang of it. I'll get the hang of it one day. Yeah. Well, now it's actually over to you to actually respond to all the things that people have been saying today and all the allegations that are in this. You have as long as you wish, and just, to address the points that are being made.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. And again, I do just want to stress my sincere apologies about being here today. I'm quite an active, healthy, young, fit girl normally, but these last 12 months, so I'll just paint a not so much pretty picture since 22nd of September 22. I've been in a relationship with a gentleman for a couple of years who then turned quiet and get an earful of things. Long story short, I did actually get rid of this boyfriend in the middle of this year. But there's been a lot of backlash since that. We've had all these allegations have started since myself and Richard Askin, which is my bar manager, who had to step up as bar manager about May for me, because one of the members, the last member of staff that I had to get rid of them because they just weren't turning into it. They wasn't predictable when they come in. So we've had a lot of issues with staff, the building itself. So, sorry, I'll go back to September. So September last year, my landlords decided that after I'd spent £25,000 of all my money on the building, and I got the contract to state that if I spent all my money on the building, they would then sell me the building, which was in the pipeline for me to purchase Jurassica after I'd spent £35,000 in total doing it up. This then, when the contract ended in June 2022, they said that they wasn't going to renew the contract. I've got numerous emails and text messages of abuse from my landlord stating that I've made them ill, that I've got, they've got disability problems. They're not. They're both alcoholics that just do nothing but drink and take drugs themselves. So all these allegations about drug taking and drinking is about previous owners and how they run the business. I've put my foot down so much, and I don't allow anybody to smoke any sort of cannabis on site. If I catch anybody trying, it doesn't get reported in a logbook, which is on the bar. It does also get, they get evicted off straight away. They get told to leave the premises. I don't want that sort of stuff. I've got 2 young children that live upstairs myself. We live on the premises as a family, me and my 7-year-old daughter and my 13-year-old son. They're very good children. They don't need to be told off very often because they've got discipline in places and things. But I got a very disgusting, aggressive eviction notice on the 22nd of September last year that ordered me 7 weeks to move out of my business with my children. So my head completely went because I'd given up my home to move into this pub thinking I was going to be buying this pub. And then in November, November 2022, I had to leave Joanne in charge because my mental health was failing. My boyfriend got more controlling at the time. So it were easier to be away at weekends than it was to stay and work in my pride and joy because he was just so abusive towards me if I carried on even just working, just pulling a pint and talking to a customer. He asked me all horrible questions as I got upstairs. So that was up to November. Then I got the ladies in charge started coming to the pub in November saying that they were phoning the staff drunk after hours saying that my staff may as well leave me now because they're not going to have a job, nobody's going to have Christmas. They were being really, really nasty. And I contacted the solicitor at this point. The solicitor told me to stay put, do not move, because all the allegations that it was actually harassment. So I told the ladies, I emailed them and said, if you contact me again, I will get the room out for the private function. There was no children at the premises at the time apart from this 17-year-old. I provided the CCTV for this incident as well. I don't think Catherine mentioned that, but I did send the CCTV for the gentleman storming across the place. Oh no, I've shown it you. I didn't send it, I've shown it you when you come to the premises.
We saw that on your mobile phone at our visit in February, but it wasn't something that you had available when we did our visit on the 23rd of January.
December. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so December, yeah, 'cause we did have a few issues, didn't we, with the time. I think the time was right, but I did eventually provide that information. I wasn't withholding it. Yeah, and then in February, unfortunately, I didn't attend the training course because my best friend of 30 years, who'd got a very rare skin condition, he got rushed into hospital on the 8th of February. And unfortunately, he passed away on the 8th of March, which completely just messed me head up because he's always been my support. He's been there for everything for me. So that, bearing in mind, I've still got all my nanans and all my granddads. My granddad unfortunately passed away this year as well, 3 months ago, which is when Catherine asked for the CCTV. I was away in Boston because my granddad had been called into hospital and was given just hours to live, which he passed away within 26 hours. So I've still got all my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, my mum, my dad. I've got everybody. Unfortunately for me this year, I've lost my best friend and I've lost my granddad, which, not losing many people in your life, that does kind of hit you like a brick. And then to top it off, my partner, who was really abusive, I got rid of him. I had to get rid of him. The police and everything got involved with that. He's not allowed near my premises anymore. And literally in the last 10 weeks, up to 10 weeks ago, I didn't even care if I was going to be living or dying anymore. I'll be honest with all of you, because I just had so much. So I've lost my best friend, I nearly lost my business, I'd got my kitchen were leaking badly and wanted £3,500 spending on it, which I couldn't really afford to spend that, so health and safety shut my kitchen down. Then we reopened the kitchen and had all the bad weather in the summer, and then that collapsed one of my back roofs, so the toilets collapsed to the main party entrance for the children's entrance. So I had to stop doing parties, which was my main income, and I also had to stop doing food because the kitchen was in such a bad state. So both of the main incomes stopped coming in. I had no choice but to go back to my other business and start pushing more events, which I've got a balloon and a wedding and events business called Celebrate and Create. So I had no choice but to go back to that because they've declared bankruptcy. I wasn't able to get these repairs done. So I have just been stuck in a rut of not being able to open the business. I've honestly tried to move out of the business to get relocated. Everybody wants 10 to 15,000 pounds up front in rent and things, so I've struggled with that. I also live in the premises as well in the pub, so I've not only been trying to find another private rented house to live in with my 2 children and my 2 dogs, but I've also been struggling to relocate the business. And then because of all the mental health and stuff, I've struggled with the ex-partner, with the pub falling apart. I don't even understand how I've kept my head above water, but I've tried my absolute best to comply with everything under the circumstances that I don't understand paperwork and it does panic me. And I have got ADHD and I have got dyslexia as well, so I panic with forms and things like that. So I have normally got somebody to help me with this sort of stuff, but unfortunately everybody just sees £100,000 worth of dinosaurs in my business and thinks that I'm absolutely loaded, not realising all my money's in everything. So the little things of engineers coming out to get me CCTV up, which is an £150 call-out charge, I've struggled to even get that sort of money when I'm trying my hardest to just put food on the table for my bread, because I'm a single parent and I don't get any help from anybody at all. So yeah, other than I lost a baby as well in September last year, which was unexpectedly, so I've had quite a lot to deal with as a single parent, and I just try and smile and wave myself through every day and try and do what everybody asks me to do, but there's not many jobs for people to ask. I have struggled to run the pub on my own, because it's not just a pub. It's the children. We're the first animatronic dinosaur themed restaurant in the UK. There is no restaurant, no pub like mine. So when you come to my pub, you don't just sit and have a meal. Myself, I'm the main entertainer, and I love my job. And I go to the tables with the baby dinosaurs and entertain the children. And then through the summer, when we were in and out of in the kitchen, what I did find is staff weren't coming in, so then I was left to run the bar, I was left to then go and cook the food, and because I'm a qualified chef as well, so from cooking the food I'd then put my dishcloths and stuff in the sink and then go and entertain the children. So I've been all over the show to try and keep the business and to be fair, in my defence, everything that I have done, all the customers on site have not even noticed how I struggled. Weeks ago we couldn't do food, unfortunately, because the restaurant's not being open for the children, so they just come in for a drink. And the little girl, she made me cry because she says they've got a big photograph on the wall above the fireplace with me and the dinosaurs from her previous party. She said her mum said how much she loves this picture. So I know that the business structure works. Everything that I've put into the business, the first 12 months of the business, absolutely made so much money that I know that the structure of the business works. It's just, I know it's in the wrong location, and I know I've got the wrong people around me because I'm from that area as to where the pub is, so I'm slap back in the middle of all my friends, whether they're good friends, they're bad influence friends. Unfortunately, everybody's got some sort of friends around them that sometimes are good and sometimes are not, and they just come into my pub to support me, and they might smell a weed, and I say, get that out of here now, I don't want that in this premises, and they do listen to me and apologise, and they know I'm really strict with stuff like that. I would never, ever, ever tolerate anybody, whether it was family, friends, somebody I knew, stranger. I'd never tolerate anybody taking drugs or dealing drugs or anything, so I know that is just wrong allegations, because I'm really strict on that. Richard's really strict on that as well. So we're both kind of on the same level with that. And yeah, Richard just stepped up because I'd got no staff, and he just saw me have a mental breakdown in the middle of the summer when I just couldn't keep my head above water. So Richard did agree to start doing the bar for me after 7 o'clock at night. So if anybody does come in the daytime, it's normally me that's on in the day, and then at night time Richard would normally take over, just because mainly the customers that do come in the night. There's 2 sections to the pub. So one section is dinosaurs all in a room, it's got its own bar, it's got its own toilets. That's used for the restaurant, the children's entertainment bit, and also the private parties. And then the separate side with a separate bar, separate toilets, that's the pool room side, what we call the pool room side with the dartboard. That's where we tend to get what I call riffraff sometimes, but they're all harmless. They're all just lads that they've all got their own businesses. They don't look the part, but I can assure you they are the respectful guys. That's the only thing I can honestly suggest. When they say lock-ins, lock-in to me is till 1 o'clock in the morning, because come 1 o'clock I'm shattered, I need to go to bed, I've got children, I've got another business that I open from 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock, and then the pub opens 2 while, say, 8 o'clock at night. That's the new hours that we've been doing. But with regards to everything else, we did used to open till midnight because I was stuck into this rut where I weren't bringing enough money in with the food and the parties once we'd shut the kitchen and stuff. So I didn't really have a choice but to keep the pub open till 11 and 12 o'clock at night if there was 5 people in drinking. They've never caused me no problem. I've never had to phone police on any problems apart from the bandit, which was reported a few weeks ago. And then my ex-partner that kicked off at the beginning of the year, which I got rid of. I'd already got rid of him and told him not to come to the pub, but he turned up one night about 11:30 and tried kicking off, and I did tell him that the police were involved and I was going to be pressing charges if to come back, and he's not been back to the pub since. So all the things I've put into place and all the people that I've had to tell not to come back for whatever reason, they have all listened to me in that sense, and it has been, in the last 8 weeks, it's just changed, the environment's changed. I'm there all the time again now. I do feel better in myself mentally and physically. It's just this hearing that's been having a bit of daunt on me really. But with regards to everything else, I've always tried my best to comply with the police. I would always try and comply with the police because they've always helped me in sense. And even if, like I said, somebody's been burgled on the street or there's been an accident, I've given the CCTV, or I've brought the officers up to it's in my private living room, the CCTV system. So that's the reason Richard can't get in when I'm not there, because I've obviously got 2 children. I am up and down the country with my other business that's been going 10 years. So for somebody to phone me or message me on a Monday and say, can we come out tomorrow, that is very unlikely I'm going to be able to do that, because I have probably got clients from my other business, which, like I've stressed, this last 6 months I've had to go back to my other business to make the money, to try and get the repairs done and everything. I was hoping to open the kitchen and everything up for Christmas, but with all the bad rain and everything we've just had, it's just collapsed again at the opposite side because it's quite a big room. So to be fair, the pub just wants flattening and rebuilding, but we haven't got money to do that, and yeah, so that's a bit of my crazy life these last 12 months. I think about, so I think I've just exhausted you all with yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe just 1 or 2 things that we need to ask you.
Yeah.
So, Ian,
yeah, sorry, can I also say that I did try my absolute best to do the risk assessment, and I have got a copy of the risk assessment that I tried to do, and it just wasn't up to their standards. They told me that I'd got to reword things and do this and do that, but yeah, it's a lot for me to take in with dyslexia. I write sentences backwards, so imagine how long it takes me to do anything else. I need help with stuff like that, I really do. Sorry, that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah. Before I start, let me say I retired last week after eight years in hospitality, not in licensed premises, but I am very well aware of what it's like to challenge people, because I managed front door access. You know, when you're in non-licensed premises, you still have to challenge people who think that they can walk in carrying forth, and on a good day I've been called a job's worth. And so, you know, I understand, is what I'm trying to say to you. I understand the challenges of dealing with people who cause problems. A minority of people, you know, but I do understand it. So that, you know, that's where I'm coming from in saying this. Can I ask you? I hear, you know, I feel your emotion and so on. You have another business. Yeah. Do you really want to carry on with this? I mean, you're facing an awful lot. I mean, really serious question.
Yeah.
You're facing an awful lot of challenges.
I understand that. Yeah. So my heart for Jurassica, my big plan 2 years ago when I moved in that pub, my big plan was to use Jurassica as like a jigsaw puzzle, a stepping stone, if you like. So that was trial and error, because I'd priced up massive warehouses and all these sort of places in town, which I'd love to be with. And it was going to cost me £100,000 a year, and I didn't have that sort of money. So I thought, what about, I had a little place on Bellhouse Road in Shire Green called Jurassic Parties. Jurassic Parties was a smaller venue, smaller room. It didn't serve alcohol. We'd got no kitchen in there to be able to do food. I had that for 3 years, and obviously with COVID, I had to come out of that. So during COVID, I stopped working 70 hours a week. I then realised that I'm paying so much in a private rented, I'm paying so much for this venue in Jurassic Parties in Bellhouse Road, I might be able to afford a pub, and then it'd kill the aspect of people wanting to bring their own alcohol to do kids' parties, because believe it or not, there's a lot of British people that like to drink during kids' parties, not get bladdered or intoxicated that much, but they do like a couple of drinks. But I wasn't allowed to provide that service at Jurassic Parties because it was just a building that I rented. And I didn't, even though there's no law to say they can bring their own alcohol, I kind of lied about that and said, I don't know, you're not allowed to drink it on these premises, because I didn't want that around the children. So I didn't have no alcohol, and we had no kitchen to be able to serve food. So when I went into lockdown, I realised how much I was spending on my property, my private rented and the building. I could possibly afford a pub. So Lindsay and Mel that owned the pub at the time, their mother died, and I did, with my other business, I did them all the balloons and stuff for the funeral at Jurassica, what was then called the Fighting Cock. So I went up, and Mel had said to me and Lindsay, joking about, oh, this would be good for you, Chantal. I says, it won't be. You won't get dinosaurs in here. And my dinosaurs, when I say dinosaurs, they're 6.5 foot tall, animatronic. They've got cameras in end at noses, TV screens on the inside. They cost me £15,000 each. I get lads in them that are about the same structure. We zip them up. They walk round. They look like real dinosaurs. So when we had the T-Rex and the rat, so we could have one at the old venue but not the other because it was too tall. So there was all these little problems with the other venue. So I thought, moving forward, national lockdown, I've got time to think. The pub worked out £100 less than what my private rented and my other building was. But I had the extra aspects of being able to serve alcohol and serve food to the clients that wanted that service. So straight away I thought there's a gap in the market. So Jurassica was a big risk, a big challenge to see whether it worked. But I thought if the business structure works, which is aka family fun dining with a roast and twist, so you don't just come and sit and have a quiet meal. You might get no elephants, dinosaurs. You might get dinosaurs like entertaining at the tables. We encourage the children. So amount of parents that said to me, Chantal, that they eat all the food when they come to you, because I'm good with the children and I'll go down to their level, and I've got a little dinosaur on my arm while I'm entertaining, and I'm saying, if you're really good and you eat all this dinner, we've got another cheeky T-Rex that might come out and see you. And the children just adapt to that and automatically believe everything that I tell them, so they eat all the dinner. It's just little things like that all the parents, the children, I walk on, honestly, I'm like famous in Sheffield for children, and they walk on and call me dinosaur lady and everything, so it's quite nice in that sense. But yeah, the aspect moving forward with it, because the building's in that much of a bad condition, it's going to cost me about another £20,000 to put right, which I haven't got. I've spent all my money on this building, so I feel like I'm back to square one with everything anyway. But the dinosaurs, I do want to be. Sorry. My big dream, by the time I'm 45 years old and I'm 38, my business plan states that I want to have the biggest. I want to buy 3 acres of land. I want to build my own, so there's no problems with buildings falling apart and landlords harassing me. And I want to make the biggest South Yorkshire, England if possible, dinosaur themed, not just restaurant but also themed dining with educational aspects for children, mainly disability children, because I work with a lot. When we're not at Jurassica, we visit schools. I've been to Shropshire, I've been to Cornwall, I've been all over the country. I'm the first person in the UK to have these animatronic dinosaurs, and we help so many vulnerable children and stuff, so I do want to take it that big as to have my own land and do my own educational, but have all the different aspects of everything. So the plan was to work hard at Celebrate, Create, sell that, and then put me all into Jurassica, but with all the chains of vaults I've had around me, from mainly people around me, that I've noticed these last 2-3 months who's with me and who's not with me. And unfortunately for me, it has been a massive, massive challenge and a massive, massive learning curve, but moving forward, because I've not got all these people holding me back. I'm better mentally, I've got more energy physically, I'm there nearly all the time now, because I have realised that letting other people try and run my business has jeopardised what's my livelihood, and that's where all my money is. And my children absolutely love the aspect of my pub, and I had a conversation with a little girl the other day and she cried because she says, I don't want to leave the pub, Mummy, but she doesn't understand that I'm not going to be staying there anyway. If I could get somewhere in Kelham Island or Sheffield City Centre, it'd be ideal, because I would love to go back to working 9 in the morning till 6-7 p.m. at night time, serving food, 2 hours to clean up, and if I want to do a live event that would be family orientated, or I want to do like something that's for the families with the dinosaurs and the food aspect, I can do a private event that says 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, ticket only, so we can control the capacity, and then we can also control who comes in and who comes out, because it'll all be ticket only event. So moving forward, that's the big aim now. I've just got to get myself out of this little rut and just work hard and save money again, back to square one, really. Sorry, I hope that answers your question. I talk a bit too much when I'm nervous as well.
Cliff, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, I thank you. I've been listening very carefully to what you've been saying. I must say I have a lot of respect for anyone who runs their own business, and I think pubs must be especially challenging. The hours, making ends meet. The licensing conditions are really a cornerstone of that kind of business.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently in retrospect?
Definitely, I can answer that 100%. I know what, I should never have left my business with everybody else to run, and I should never have listened to a man that controlled me to the point where he manipulated me, made me believe everything that he was doing and saying was right. And honestly, up to March, April this year, when I lost my best friend, there was a massive eye-opener to my boyfriend at the time, because he weren't there to support me through losing my best friend, which were massive. He was also adding to the problem, so he was a huge drug taker. He was addicted to cocaine. I don't do drugs. I don't even drink alcohol. I live in a pub and I'd rather drink a cup of tea. Honestly, watch me on my cameras. I walk around with a Tetley's or a Yorkshire cup of tea every day. I'm not into drinking and stuff. I never really have been. My mum and dad don't really drink. But he comes from a different background to me. So he was always wanting to go out and party. I'd be working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'd do 12 to 16 hours on a Friday, 12 to 16 hours Saturday. No problem to me. I can have 2-3 hours sleep. If I've got bookings in my diary, I am up, I'm ready. I'll never let anybody down. But he started taking a toll on me, where he was trying to control who I spoke to in the pub. It made my life a living hell, shall we say, while I was just trying to run the business. So going back, if I could go back, or not even go back, moving forward, I would never ever allow anybody to get in my head again with regards to how I run my business, what I need to do. Joanne, who Catherine mentioned at the beginning, she was left in charge when I went away from my partner's birthday in December 2022. That was the first incident that occurred. I left Joanne in charge under the conditions that she followed the protocol. There was bouncers on the door, because every event before, I've got a log of the security that we had. Unfortunately, this was the first event that we had that the bouncers didn't turn up to do that night. And unfortunately for me, I do think it was a massive lesson now with regards to the trouble happened, no bouncers, the police were called, then to top it off, it was underage. I did have a really strong word with Joanne about this. Joanne assured me she could run the business. She was there to help me. She was there to support me. And then I did actually find out, I actually had to sack Joanne this year, because Joanne, who was also my friend of 25 years, was also caught stealing from me as well, and I actually caught her doing that. So I had to get rid of Joanne, because I thought she was there for me, and she turned out she was just using me as well. So this is what I mean about with regards to people around me. I've got nobody now, and then I know it sounds harsh saying that, but I'd rather have nobody than people pretend to be there for me and support me and not really support me. So moving forward now, I'm doing everything myself. I am going to be the main entertainer. I am going to be the main person that's on the bar. I am going to be involved with the chefs and make sure they're in, but I'm also the one that can also cook the food and everything. So if the chef doesn't turn in and leave me in the lurch again, I can always step up and cover certain jobs and things. Because before, I think I left it a lot, because of my boyfriend and the frame of mind I was in, I left a lot to other people because I generally didn't have the energy. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship what's manipulation, but that alone drains every ounce of goodness out of you without having to deal with your own life and things moving forward as well. So it's been a difficult challenge, but moving forward I'm definitely going to be there more and support and take all the help that I can get, because that's another thing I struggle with, putting my hand up and saying I need help with this. I'm quite confident and think that I can do everything, and then it gets to this point where we're all sat around the table and no, you can't do everything, Chantal, I'm not invincible. I know I'm not invincible now.
Thank you. I mean, it does seem to me that you've struggled with people around you, that they've not been there for you. And running a pub isn't...
You can't do it on your own.
You can't do it on your own.
You can't.
Absolutely. It's a team effort. How would you ensure that everybody on that team is compliant with the licensing regulations? Because this is something that's not happened in the past.
Yeah, no. So what I've done now, and another massive lesson for me, was employing people that you know. Don't ever employ anybody that you know. You're best going down the route of doing interviews with people, with strangers, and getting people in, because what I've found, I mean, Richard's been amazing. I'm not saying anything with regards to Richard. He had stepped up a lot and helped me as a friend. He's been a family friend for 30 years, so I've known Rich since he was 3 years old. So he stepped up because he needed the money and stuff. So we've both helped each other with that sense. But I would definitely say that I'm not going to rely on so many people in moving forward. I'm definitely not going to listen to how they think that I should run the business. If I'm in doubt now, I will shout with authorities and ask for your advice and your help, and you point me in the right direction, rather than listen to other people and it failing me or grind me down and stuff. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
There's a couple of things from me.
Yeah.
We'll get
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, obviously, we've all got every sympathy with your personal circumstances. It's awful. You wouldn't want people to go through that. But looking at this, the conditions on that licence have been on since July 21, when you first took over the pub. Yeah. And for many of those, there isn't any evidence that you've tried to comply with them at all, over sort of good and bad times. You know, I wonder, you know, when you were granted that licence, you know, why weren't those things put in place immediately?
Yeah, well, I thought that there was, to be fair. I had a pub in Boston, Lincolnshire for 3.5 years, what went from earning £30 a week to earning nearly £300,000 a year. So even though I never even understood how to run a pub then and the business structure of how to run a pub, there was never... Even when we fought police, if somebody broke into my barn once and I fought police, when the police and stuff come out, there was never as strict in Lincolnshire as what they were in Sheffield. So I thought that maybe that's because mine's a different aspect of a pub in Sheffield. It's an animatronic dinosaur themed pub. It's the first of its kind. Maybe they've been a bit more strict because of that. What has been a massive it's still a massive blur and a massive question, really. I used to manage a pub in Ecclesfield that was constantly full of drugs and constantly full of trouble and constantly full of police there every week. I managed that for 4.5 years, and every time the police come out and demanded CCTV or whatever, there was never no paperwork given to me as a manager to say this needs to be filled in. My manager at the time, the owner of the building, Kevin, he never prompted me on any training. He never given me any advice on what I needed to do. This pub is 30 seconds from where my pub is, around the corner. So I think I went into Jurassica thinking I could run it like the players' lounge around the corner, and that was like more of an adult environment. So I thought, well, not having the adult environment aspect of it, having the kids environment aspect, I didn't realise there were going to be as much paperwork. I didn't realise there were going to be all these things that I needed. But I thought, to be fair, everything that Catherine and Gareth had asked me to do, I'd engaged to certain points of my understanding to get that done. With regards to the risk assessment, I spent 5 hours putting something together for a risk assessment, which has not been mentioned in today's hearing. But I put that together, and then when Catherine and Julie and Gareth come out, they said that basically that wasn't good enough. I'd got to go away and do it again. But with all the posters, the login sheets, the toilet cleaning sheets, everything else that was in that pack that Catherine gave me, I have filled out. And Catherine and Gareth have been back to the premises since and seen my signatures and seen that I filled stuff out. And I got a note at home from there was about 13 points what we needed to do, and I've got a tick list of only 3 of them that needed. So I thought I'd complied as much as I needed to. I thought the massive problem was the CCTV, which I know that is a massive problem. It's in place, the CCTV. It's just I'm a bit useless with trying to get into systems and stuff. So I've always relied on my other member of staff to that. My boyfriend at the time, he was really good at it, and that's why he could get into systems. And I don't know, I said to my engineer, I don't know if he's changed any settings to get in, because it was 3 weeks after the incident that was reported to you guys that you then demanded CCTV under an anonymous call. And that does sound very much like my ex-boyfriend and Richard's ex-girlfriend, because the text messages, the emails, they was phone in the pub, and the voice notes that they've both left us saying that they're going to try their best to get Jurassica shut down. They don't like... Is Richard's ex-girlfriend, Laura, who he's got children through, he's still having loads of trouble with her now. She's left him a voice note Friday accusing him of being with me and accusing him of messing all his family up to be with me and to run the pub with me. And he's just said it's to help, like, pay for Christmas presents for the children and stuff. And the stuff she says in the messages that she's going to fuck with, but these are the ones, the people that are saying about these allegations, they're the ones that are actually having house parties till 4 or 5 in the morning, and they're the ones that are taking the drugs and alcohol, and they're just trying to make it out like it's my pub. But I can assure you nothing goes on. Everybody's out of my pub by 1 a.m. at the very latest, unless I've got like my cousin or my brother or Richard's brothers are in. We might play pool or something, but we don't serve alcohol after time. We don't drink after time. I did make a point of saying to Catherine when they first come out in December, so I've got a lot of friends and family. My children live upstairs. At my other house, I had a bar on the back garden with a pool table in. So after hours, if we shut the pub downstairs, are we all right to have a drink and play pool? She says, as long as you're not serving alcohol and those front doors are shut, you are all right to have your family and your friends in here. And that, honestly, God's honest truth, hands on heart, hands on wood, that's all we've ever had in. I've never had a lock-in with any customer, not one customer, ever. I've never said, so they drink the drinks and they go, and me and my friends or my family might stay, but it might be 3 or 4 people. It's not more than 4 or 5 people at a time, ever. Yeah, so that's massively concerning that people actually are saying stuff like that, because that's not what it's about. And any aspect of anybody, I don't even like smoking cigarettes, let alone smoking anything else or drug taking. I'd never tolerate it, never. I'm not into that sort of stuff, and I never have been and never will be either. Yeah, so...
And you talked about, the complexities and the personal difficulties you had.
Yeah.
I mean, when licensing and the police, responded to the incident back in December last year.
Yeah.
They've said today, you heard the police representative saying that normally, in other areas, if there's an issue, they come in hard and fast, they're asking for a review, whereas we're 12 months down the line now. People, you've got the police, you've got licensing, you've got safeguarding, who've said they've offered you help and support. Did you not feel able to take that help?
No, and you know what? I love people offering me help and support, but I think since 22nd of September 22, when that eviction notice come through my door and my boyfriend beat me up for the first time, my head's just gone. I've questioned everything. I've questioned my business, I've questioned my friends, I've questioned my family, I've questioned my sanity, I've questioned even if my children love me anymore. I've gone through so many insecure. My life's just been so unbalanced this year because of having no staff, because of having a psychopath boyfriend that police body language experts actually said is a psychopath. I've had loads of issues, personal, as well as trying to keep my head above water to bring money in. So when I've got paperwork here, this much needs doing, but I need to pay my rent for my children to feed them on a weekend. all these things, I've had to go, that needs to just wait, because I need to bring the money in. The most important thing to me has been to pay the bills, because even though, well, in the last 12 months, I've got into nearly £17,000 debt. So I know that I've stopped working. I know that it's been mainly me that's been the issue, that's not been there mentally and physically. And I've been so exhausted from everything else that once I have come back to down to reality and I've realised that I've got my pub to still run and I've still got bills to pay, it has been quite difficult, and I've spent more days this year in bed crying myself to sleep than I ever have done in my life because of different aspects of what's gone off with the pub, with my shop window as well, Catherine also mentioned. So just to top off everything else that were going off in my life, in December last year, my shop window got put through and burglars, druggies burgled my shop and pinched my laptops and things like that. So everything that I've ever done, even my books and everything down to paperwork, was all on those laptops that they took from so that was another aspect that I had to save money up to replace laptops, because it's not just that easy to just pull money from nowhere when you're a single parent and you don't get any help. I have to go out and earn my money to get money. I don't get no help from child benefit from anywhere. So what I always say, what I earn is what I've earned. What I spend, is what I've earned. So that's where I've struggled really. It's been financial and mental health that's stopped me from moving forward a lot of the time, because people around...
and just finally from me, just for my clarification, if you could just clarify on what basis you actually occupy this premises. You talked about it being on some sort of lease, but that you seem to be responsible for all the repairs and maintenance.
Well, it's confusing at the minute.
So, I mean, is it a long-term lease, a short-term lease? How
I guess it's as good as mine. So, in June 2020, when I moved in, the agreement was I pay £400 a month rent for the upstairs. I wasn't downstairs at the point in time because the COVID was in and we wasn't legally allowed to open, so they was good, and they didn't charge me for the downstairs, they just charged me for the upstairs. So I was just paying for the rent for the upstairs. Then when I moved downstairs and opened it, I started paying the rent downstairs. It was under a 2-year contract which ran out June last year, 22. In the contract, the first line stated, Chantal is responsible for all repairs to the building. Chantal's got first refusal to buy this building. Basically, I was buying the building. I'd spoke to my solicitors. I'd even paid with the solicitor £6,000 for a verbal contract written up to state that I was doing like a rent-to-buy contract with them, which in the long run that saved me money, because a mortgage were going to cost me £40,000 on top of the asking price for the pub. So I thought, well, that's better for me, because instead of costing £40,000 for a mortgage, it's only going to cost me £6,000. So everything were fine. Landlord's perfect. There were never no problems with the building for the first 2 years. And then June last year, they didn't send me a contract, so I asked for the contract. They didn't send me the renewal of the contract. And then, because I kept prompting them saying I need this contract, Lindsay Eastwood, she tried putting the rent up verbally. And I said, you can't put the rent up verbally. I'm quite a strict person. I want it all in writing, your signature, my signature, witnesses. She refused to do that, and then I didn't know anything about it. I just carried on paying what I was ordered to pay in the first original contract. And then in September, 22nd of September last year, which I'll not forget the date because it felt like my life fell apart, I opened a letter, and it was an eviction notice, and it gave me 7 weeks, 3 days to move out with my children. I'd never been in this situation. I'd never ever rented a building and been told to move out of it. So my world stopped. I not only got worried about not having nowhere to live at Christmas with my children, I just found out that I'd had a miscarriage 3 weeks before as well. And then to top it off, I'd also got to relocate my business. So I'm freaking out thinking, oh, my money's in here. I'm not going to be able to afford any rent or anything. So it was the worst Christmas ever, because I spent most of it depressed in bed, worrying that I'm going to get kicked out any time. To top it off, we had 2 bailiffs come in from bailiff companies in December and January. They wanted proof for everything in there, all the equipment, the dinosaurs, everything, because Lindsay and Mel, the owners, had sent the bailiffs saying that everything was theirs, so I had to prove it was mine. The bailiffs knew that they was lying, and because I could prove that the dinosaurs were from an American company, they just said, we'll stop the bailiffs coming from you. They were looking bad. They were coming in the suits and everything while I'd got customers in doing kids' parties. One of them walked in halfway through a child's party. So it's just constantly reassure the staff and reassure the customers that it was nothing to do with us. And that was up to January. And then I actually went to court in April this year because they wanted to repossess the building. And they've got all the paperwork that messed up and everything. Lindsay got quite abusive towards the judge, and he ordered that she left the room immediately and got legal advice and help. So my solicitor took me to one side and just made my life feel so much better, because she actually said to me, moving forward, Chantal, they've got to go to court, they've got to reapply. She basically told me to stay where I am. She went every day, she said, just sit, do what you can. She went, still try and move out, which I'm still trying to move out. She's still trying to find other premises. She says, but just keep paying what you've been ordered to pay. But she's even written the letter and got a contract. They wouldn't give her another contract. So it's like I'm just there every minute or every day now to see whether, like, I might be there in a year, I might not be there in a year, I don't know. I just need to get the money together to try and get better accommodation where I can, because I want to just go back to working, opening and doing food and events for toddlers and kids in the day while their biggest sisters and brothers are at school. So I do want to go back to the aspect to just open like 9 in the morning till 7 p.m. at night to serve food, and then maybe close and everybody go home by 9 p.m. I don't want the alcohol like after hours. I can't be bothered with the people coming in and having to control the, I call them man-childs, when they want to have a drink and they just don't want to go home, and I can't be bothered with none of that. That's not what Jurassica's about. Jurassica's about family fun and people coming in and having a good time and leaving energetic and filled with love and just having a roasting time. It's not about the after hours. It's not even about like parties at night time, you know, private parties. It's just, you have to take these things sometimes to pay your bills, and that's what I found. This last 12 months, I took any little bit of job just for the cash, really, just to be able to get money together to move on with my life or move the business elsewhere and stuff. So that's what I've struggled with mainly. But moving forward, that's where I know I need to be and where my head's at now. So.
Thank you, Chair. Have you considered removing the sale of alcohol from your licence?
In regards to like the kids' parties and the themed dining, we'd probably need the sale of alcohol, yeah, because we do find, as I said before previously, there's a lot of parents that do like to just have a casual drink while they have got the children. I've even been asked when we've done parties, and we normally do parties from like 11 while 1, 2 while 4 or 5 while 7. And even at 11 o'clock, you get people, they'll be queuing at the bar waiting for the hours to open when you're serving the alcohol because they want a drink just because they're at a child's party. So, yeah, but even, they don't get too intoxicated. They don't show off or anything like that. The children's party and the themed dining, it all works so well that that's where I know moving forward where my business needs to be more of, rather than just the lads that come in for a pint after work that might stay till 11 o'clock at night and drag them out with one of their feet because they're a bit too intoxicated. It's there's two types of aspects to a pub, and mine's not the normal pub environment. It is more like a family fun like place where we just, I'd encourage just a couple of drinks and then go home, not to stay, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but obviously that's not been the case, has it, for
no,
quite a period of time?
Yeah, because we've not been doing kids' parties and we've not been serving food either, so I've had the aspect of more of an adult environment than I have the children's environment, which is what the Jurassica is about.
Is the intention, well, would the intention be to still run Jurassica and have your other private events business on the side as well?
Well, my heart's with Jurassica, and most of my money's into the dinosaurs of Jurassica. So I have had a word with my financial advisor literally 4 weeks ago, just because there's a few aspects that we can, moving forward with Jurassica, mainly Jurassica. I am getting a bar manager in. There's 2 gentlemen that I'm really interested in that I have got a meeting with next week. They basically come in and rebrand pubs and any problems that they've had. with pubs, that they'll come in, they'll rebuild them, and then they move on. I have had a meeting with them 2 weeks ago, and they are coming back next week to hopefully start and work with me for the first 2 months of 2024, because they're going to get me the chefs that I need. They're basically going to... I'm good with staff, and I'm good at telling people what to do and where they need to be, but I'm a bit gullible as well. So when somebody tells me something, I tend to just believe them, because I believe that you shouldn't not believe people, so they tell you stuff. I can sometimes, that gullibleness, people can take advantage of me a little bit with, and I've noticed that this year. So I need somebody that's a little bit more stern at the side of me that, yeah, I know how to run the events and I know how to do that, but I need somebody that sits down and does the paperwork side of it and understands that side of it, because that's where I struggle. I'm more of an hands-on person than I am sit down and do the paperwork side. I don't mind doing it for like 10 minutes after every night, but trying to juggle it through the day with everything else that I've got going off can prove quite difficult, hence why there's a bit of a backlog with paperwork.
Okay, sorry, I meant your private, like your balloon and weddings events. Are you doing both?
I am only doing both at the minute just because I need to make ends meet with finances, but with the financial advisor meeting, it's hopefully all going to be moving forward with Jurassica. I have been approached by 2 investors as well, so hopefully they may be able to help me move forward and get bigger and better premises that's away from, like, I think my problem as well, it's a council estate. So yeah, with regards to Celebrate and Create, my first baby business, she's the one that's made the money for the dinosaurs and stuff, but I would be willing to sell that business once Jurassica's making the money again, to be able to get rid of that one. That's the main income at the minute. That's the one that makes my money every month, that doesn't get in debt with anything. The problem with Jurassica, it's up and down like this, because as you know, with pubs and hospitality, there's no set balance with it. So 1 week, we might be busy 1 week and take £4,000, then week after, you're lucky if I take 400. It's unreal, yeah. But moving forward, my heart is with Jurassica, and I'd love to expand that more than anything, yeah.
Obviously, great to hear the plans, but we need to get the fundamentals first.
Yeah.
So what we're hearing today is evidence that over 12 months, repeated failures to comply.
Yeah.
The team have been throwing the sort of help and support at you. So what members need to be convinced of today is that obviously unavoidable things have happened, and I have deep sympathy with what's happened, you know. But you're not an island, you can't do it all yourself, so members need to be assured that you're going to accept the help. And I think what we're sort of struggling to nail down is, you're saying you're going to sort of be there all the time, but you're also planning to do the cooking, do the events, do all the planning. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So what's the sort of plan going forwards that's not just going to be you?
Yeah,
because it's not really worked.
New staff for a start. The first things first, I need to get the building airtight, because I've got a leak in my pool room, there's a leak in my toilets in my dinosaur room, restaurant, and then there's a leak in my kitchen. Because of all the bad weather that we've just had, these were little problems that have now become quite big problems. So the first things first, I need to get the building sorted. Once I've got the building sorted and we can open the aspects of doing the food again, which is the main aspect of Jurassica. Once we've got the food in place, we have got 2 chefs. One of them is the chef that worked with us before. He was the side chef. Richard's also put forward to me, literally 2 weeks ago when we had a staff meeting. He's trained to be a chef for 6 years. He was a chef in a local Italian restaurant in Exclusion. He has said that he would like to become the chef for Jurassica, so I'm also on the verge of maybe possibly giving him the chef job, as well as another job that the gentleman that worked for me before, he's coming back to work for us as the main chef. With regards to entertainer, I'm not going to lie, I do like the aspect of when I'm the entertainer, because I'm the one that sells the business, I'm the face of the business, I know what the children like, I know what the adults and stuff like, so I like to be the main entertainer. So I have said we will be getting the 2 bar managers that are coming in. They're going to be doing a lot of the hours on managing the bar, training the staff up. We've got training protocols put in place. I've also done a lot of checklists, so just to help staff, which which weren't put into place, which when I think about it, I should have just had these little things, like a little tick sheet. So at the beginning of every shift, there's a tick sheet now on the bar where the staff know what they're doing to open, they know what they're doing to close. Before, I was verbally saying that to them. There weren't no punctuation in place, there weren't nothing that they could work from on paper. So we've got more of a training resources in place. That's one of the reasons that I asked about Julie with the safeguarding, because I do want to put every single member of staff that starts from this day moving forward will all DBS checked. Even if before we had staff that worked at night time, like Richard, he didn't have any DBS checks because he weren't going to see the children, because when he started work at 8 o'clock, the children went home at 8 o'clock. So things like that I'm not moving forward. It don't matter what time you're going to be starting work, you will all be DBS checked, you will all have the training. We're going to put training into place as well every 2 to 3 months, where everybody's just refreshed on the training, and as a team, we all try and help each other as well moving forward. So we are going to be getting new staff, and we're just going to be changing the structure of it, to be fair, and going back to basic, because the first 16 months of Jurassica, people could not even get in the restaurant. There was no such thing as the pool room, because I didn't care about the pool room. We shut. If you look at my opening times on some of the doors, it says we shut at 7, 8 o'clock, Monday to Thursday. That's what it was like. We was that exhausted through the day, through doing the food and stuff. I didn't want to be open after 8 o'clock at night anyway, so I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, as long as we can get the correct staff in place moving forward, we'll be able to go back to basics and have all the staff working for us, doing the jobs correctly, and then hopefully be able to shut the doors at 8, 9 o'clock at night to stop the after-hours drinking and things, and the younger people coming in, and adults and stuff, without the children and drinking.
Just finally, I don't mean this in a rude way,
No.
do you feel competent that you can run this business?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, this last 8 weeks, I went to Copenhagen with my best friend, and I've just started doing a few more things for myself now as well, because I think before I was everything was about other people, and everything was about what needed to be done there. I've just gone, no, if this needs doing, and the amount of times I've said no to people, and even my customers, some of my customers take the mickey out of me, because I'll say, no, I'm not doing that, I'm staying here, and they'll, no, come on, Chantal, because I used to like go places with them after work or whatever, and now I'm like, no, I'm not interested, I'm staying here. And yeah, I don't mind. Before, I think I was a little bit scared, being in a manipulated, controlling relationship. I was scared to be on my own and to move forward with my life on my own, but I'm so confident and ready now, because I've realised that it's people that's got me into this state. So to be with myself, I can trust me. Honestly, I'm not even just lying. If I could clone myself, I know every aspect of my life would work, because everything that I do works well. It's other people that tend to let me down. So. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Gareth, from licensing, do you have any questions for Chantal?
Yes, Chair. Just one. You said you feel capable about 8 weeks ago, that you feel capable of running the premises. Can you just confirm you received my email dated the 8th of November in relation to you running your premises in line with your licence conditions? Just to reiterate, I did send an email on the 8th of November advising, obviously, I have no option but to review your licence.
But is that the day you come and put the stickers and things on the doors?
That's
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, I didn't get that on the 8th. I got it a week after when I got back. So I was away. My granddad died that weekend. Yeah. So
again, just to reiterate, within the email, I did say that you are permitted to open your premises, but it must be in line with your licence conditions.
Yeah.
Obviously, I went only last week on the 7th of December, and there were still licence breaches. As I said, they were quite simple breaches in relation to signage. There's no signage advising residents to leave the area.
So you've said that, but there's two. So I don't know if you've not seen them or if they're not big enough for you. But again, when you guys come out and I pointed these signs out to Catherine, she said another one needed to be put on the door area, which I have put on.
Right at the start in December, there was one on the fence on the outside.
There were one on fence outside, and there's two as you leave the premises. So when you look at the bar, and they was up from previous tenants, that's how I know they're still there. They're in an A4 frame on the wall that says can all customers please be quiet, please leave quietly and respect our neighbours. That's what it says on both doorways as you leave the premises. And then there is one on the outside that you're talking about.
During my inspection. And
yeah, see, they've always been up.
With myself as well, who also mentioned that those signage wasn't there.
Yeah, they've never been taken down. Them even when we decorated, they were still they're on the bar, so they've always been stuck on the bar. But they're on the public side of the bar as well, next to the bandits. So where the bandits are, on the wall there. It's always been on the wall there. And Catherine actually said when she come out and checked them last time, when she went around the building and checked the posters and everything were up. She said, that's fine there, she said, but you need a bigger one outside. And I said, yeah, that's fine, I'll get one for outside.
Right. Again, when we inspected the premises, we did look at the machine. We saw the damage to the actual machine itself.
Yeah.
From what we could see, there were no signs.
Right. They are up, but I can make them bigger if that's going to be an issue. Yeah, not a problem at all.
In relation to the refusals log being made available, that was mentioned to Richard on a previous visit.
Yeah. He didn't know, because we don't call it refusal log, we don't call it what you call it, so he didn't know what you were talking about when you asked for this book. I just tell him it's the ID folder, so because I've told him ID folder, that is always on the bar, it's on the bottom shelf, so when you walk in, at the full room side, where the fridge is, there's a shelf there, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's loads of this colour brown folders, that's where all the refusals, but everything that me and Catherine and you spoke about's in there. And whether I'm on shift or Richard's on shift, we've got our signatures to say we've done toilet checks and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, just to clarify, when we attended and spoke to Richard on the 7th, he advised that all of those paperwork is with yourself, that you bought that. I asked if you were to refuse anyone under the age of 25, how is that logged? And that's when you explained again that
that is correct there.
The refusals log.
That's because I've got OCD, so I don't like scribbles and Richard's writing like this, and I can't tell what it says. So I said, rather than me trying to understand what that says, can we just sit down at the end of the day and I'll write it down so it's neatly written, and then if I ever need to tell people what that says, if you guys come in or whatever, then I can explain that without trying to phone him and say I don't know what this says. So that's just due to my OCD. That I do apologise.
And again, legally, under the licence, under the annex.
Yeah, it's got to be there, even if you can't read it.
It's a legal requirement for you to have a refusals book available upon request as well by authorised officers.
No, that's fine. But with regards to this as well, can you also stress to these people that every time you've been in and done these reports as police officers, there's probably been, if not one, no people in my building whatsoever, because after 7 o'clock at night, this is why I don't understand where these allegations have ever come from about after hours, because there's nobody in the building after 9 o'clock apart from staff. That's just not through the week, that's weekends as well. There's never nobody in. You can call in any time you like for a drink after 7 p.m. It's dead, there's nobody in. We don't need bouncers because we might have got 3 or 4 people in the building, but there's hardly anybody ever in the building after night time. And I think that's just because when we first originally opened, we were shutting at 8, 9 o'clock and we were kicking people out and saying we're closing the building. So I think people in the area especially have just got used to the routine for the first 16 months that we're not open after a certain time at night time.
Well, Catherine will certainly be able to confirm on any street safe document what the officers' observations are.
Yeah,
my
read it
visit last week was there were probably about half a dozen people within the premises. Yeah. We were there from around about 9 o'clock, including staff.
Yeah.
So in just relation to CCTV, you said you've had issues with the CCTV.
Yeah.
Is that
the issues?
How long's that been?
So we had the hard drive we knew failed when Catherine contacted me in September. That's when I tried getting into the hard drive and I couldn't back anything up. It was saying that it wasn't able to back up. So I contacted Bob, who come out on the Sunday night, and he took the hard drive with him. The pub shut at 5 o'clock that night. He took the hard drive with him and tried getting he tried getting anything off it. He said that it had not even recorded for the best part of 3 months, which I was confused about because there was an incident where the police had come and I'd managed to get in, but it must have been when I spoke to Bob, which is my electrician, he's the engineer guy for the CCTV. He said that he was unable to get into the system to have a look. It was like it was just blank. So we had the hard drive replaced. He replaced the hard drive in October of this year. He had to put a brand new hard drive in it. Mainly, I do think the problem is because I forgot to also mention as well, just to top off my crazy life, my dog decided to drop unexpected puppies, 11 puppies in June, 22nd of June. I've had the puppies in my living room to raise the puppies, and the puppies have escaped the pen a couple of times, and the first thing that they do is go behind the television, and on 2 separate occasions they've actually chewed every single wire off the back of the plugs to the CCTV, to my television, to my little boy's PS5. So we had a few issues with the puppies as well, escaping the pen and eating the wires. I didn't know if that had caused the problem with the hard drive, so I'm not really technology literate, so I don't really understand it. But Bob just said that the hard drive wasn't working, he'd replaced the hard drive. The CCTV is working now, it's up and running. The only thing we cannot rectify, and I don't know how to do it, I don't know if you guys have got some technical guy that you can send out, because I'm willing to let you try and do it. I can't change the date and the time. Every time we change the date and the time of the system, as soon as the system goes to 12 o'clock midnight, it jumps 6 hours in front again. My engineer, and I've had an electrician out as well, that's just an electrician, we just cannot understand why this is working. So moving forward, the other thing is a brand new CCTV system that I've got 16 cameras up and the hard drive. It cost me £3,500 2 years ago when I moved in. But if that's the case, then I have to have a new system fitted, then I'm going to have to, because I'm trying to work with this older system and it's not doing what you want it to do and what I need it to do either. So it's just blowing me head. I'd rather just get rid of it and just get something else in place that actually works, that I can get into on my phone and stuff.
Right, so do you have access to the CCTV now? Is it
I've got
working?
yeah, it's working, it's recording, yeah.
My question is...
It's just the time's wrong.
Right.
I can't rectify that time, I don't know. Every time we do it on the system, it says it's done it, and like I said, it says it's done it on my phone, but then the minute you log in, so like the screen now, if you don't touch it for 10 minutes, my CCTV, you've then got to relog back in, and when we relog back in, that's when it's resetting the time and everything on it, but I don't understand why.
So in relation to the incident involving the fruit machine and the masked person that did,
I can get that up, yeah, it's just I went to Copenhagen, and literally that happened the Thursday night at 9:30. My flight to Copenhagen was 6 o'clock Friday morning, and then I got back last Friday, went to Copenhagen for a week.
Can I ask why you've not provided that to the police since last Friday? Obviously, the officer in charge has requested footage.
Yeah.
As of this day, you've still not provided that. Again, that provides me with concerns that you've been requested footage on several occasions.
Yeah.
And you're not providing.
No, I can provide it. Yeah, there's not a problem with providing it. I just weren't there when he asked, when the CID guy asked for it. I went in the building. I'd already gone to Copenhagen. So he phoned me Friday when I'd just landed in Copenhagen.
Right. And did you receive the additional bundle from myself in relation to my visit on the 7th?
Was that this Friday? I got something Friday that I printed off. Yeah, that's all what I printed here.
So within that document, it did state that I spoke to Richard Askin and emphasised that the officer in charge requires the CCTV footage.
Right.
So you've had this weekend to provide that. Is there any reason why you've not provided that to the officer?
Well, not really this weekend. I've been at my other business, mainly just getting balloon orders and stuff delivered. It's Christmas, so my other businesses, the most busiest time is like November, December time for celebrating Create. Yeah, so I've just had to drop my suitcases off Friday and then go to my other business to help my mum with the orders and stuff there.
And just one more question, Chair, just to ask to Chantal. I have received an email this weekend from the landlady of the premises. Obviously, it was too late for me to circulate this, but if you'd agree, I'll just give you a bit of information on that.
Yeah, and these are ones that are harassing me, by the way.
Have you been paying the rent since you've been...
No, because my solicitor told me, because they was saying in emails that they were refusing to do the repairs, and because it's had an effect on my business financially, aka I can't open the kitchen and I can't run the kids' parties, my solicitor said if they can't repair the building, I am within my legal rights to withhold the rent, to pay for the building, work myself, and I've put this in an email to Lindsay, funny enough 3 days ago, so that's probably why she's contacted you. Because I said I'm withholding the rent for 6 months so that I can pay for my new kitchen and for the roof doing on my back toilets so I can open the business again to be earning money to be able to pay them the rent.
So has it been withheld for 6 months?
It's been withheld for 3 months because it was 3 months ago that my solicitor ordered that, and I'm withholding it until February next year, and that will pay the £2,500, £2,600, which is the quote that I've had to repair the back toilets and the kitchen to be able to open again and get the food and the kids' entertainment back up and running, which is what Jurassica's about.
Yeah.
Again, just from one of the landladies, basically within the email, it just requests that she's wanting the premises back. She
she said all this.
She needs it for her.
Yeah, she ordered me to spend £25 of repairs, which I did. And the three other tenants that had the premises before me all approached me when I opened the pub and said, Chantal, be very careful of these two vindictive ladies because they will take. I didn't believe them because I'd already worked with them with my previous business. But half of these here are actually abuse. You can see it set top, it says Lindsay Eastwood. She blames me in numerous emails that they can't afford the fraud players. She suggested I close immediately. They've closed to arrange alternatives. They've sent bailiffs to me. She's also put in that. All these conversations are from Lindsay. And I've got 500 text messages and over 600 emails of harassment and abuse of her telling me to leave the building immediately. Phoning me staff and telling me staff that last Christmas you're not going to be out any jobs by Christmas because I'm taking this building back. Because she's even put in one of the emails which you've got because I've printed it off. They give me the building because I was homeless. I wasn't homeless. I lived at 199 New Lane, and I had 199 New Lane for 6 months after I'd already rented Jurassica. She said that I was homeless. That's why they give me the building. That's a lie. They approached me to take the building because they knew that I was looking for bigger premises, and they did. The emails I've got have pressured me into taking it. Me emailing me every day, telling me, "Oh, you'd be really good there. You'd do this with it." And they, like I said, they was absolutely fine. They refused to try and give me a contract to start with, but I put the foot down and I've said I'm not giving you no rent until I get a contract. That's when they gave me the contract, and then it's been until June last year when that contract ran out. That's when they switched on me 2 days after that contract was due for renewal. They just started harassing me staff, and they got really personal with me. And they're part of the problems as to why I've just packed it in as a bad job some days, and I've sat and cried myself to sleep because with their mental abuse and harassment, and then the lad that I was with at the time, just them 3 people on me every day, just honestly, I don't even know how I've not hurt myself, to be fair, with how they've gone on at me and stuff, because they made me feel so vulnerable and depressed, and stuff that they've said to me. Vile. Yeah. Even my solicitor.
And again, these are only allegations.
Yeah, well, she's contacted you because my solicitor's written a letter.
Not received any payment.
Yeah,
for the 3 years that there's over £25,000 in debt.
Yeah, well, if you look back, if you can get anything up from my name in court, I went to see the judge in court in April this year. It's the 9th or 10th of April was in court. That judge, what he said then, she'd verbally tried saying that I owed her £25,000 because she'd verbally put the rent up. The judge said, you can't do that, you need to give Chantal a contract. He said in the front of my face, Chantal doesn't owe you anything, you need to get Chantal a contract in place, and if you want Chantal out of that building, you need to go back to court and you need to get the correct help moving forward, which she's refused to do so. Instead, they just slander my business all over Ecclesfield to everybody, telling everybody in every other local pub how much of a bad person I am, and I'm one that's put her, she's the one that beats her wife up, and her wife's had to have her leg amputated because of her, and her wife, Melanie Eastwood, told me about Lindsay doing this to her 6 months ago when I saw her in another pub. And sorry.
Obviously, it is also being live webcast.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right, but I just think there are some things you probably best not straying into.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
We're going too far into the contract law, which I definitely don't want to.
No, yeah, that's a good point. No, yeah, thank you.
Well, that's all the questions I have today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Councillor, please, again, for the licensing.
Yes.
Now, you've talked a lot. I just want to drill down a little bit in what you've said.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the logbook being filled out on the table. You called it something else, an ID.
Yeah.
Is there any reason you haven't brought it along today to show that it exists?
To be honest, the only thing I forgot to grab
No.
the
Is there
brown
any reason?
folder.
No. Is there any reason?
I've been up for the last...
No. Is there any reason you haven't brought it along today?
Yeah, because I forgot to grab it off my kitchen side.
So you haven't brought it today?
No, because my little girl wasn't
that's
very
all
well.
I wanted to know. Thank you. You referred to going back last year when we had this incident on the 18th of December.
Yeah.
That you said to so Joanne,
Yeah.
that you were told her what the protocol was. Have you got a copy of that protocol?
No, because there's no copy of the protocol. It was a verbal meeting where this is what I said. I didn't realise there was so much paperwork.
So there was no written protocol?
No, because there never has been any written.
Okay.
When the other
No, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
I don't need you to expand upon that.
Yeah.
Thank you. More recently, well, you've
I
talked...
know.
No.
Sorry.
More recently you talked about voicemail harassment and threats.
Yeah.
Have you brought any copies of those?
Well, they're on my phone. You can sit and listen to them if you like.
And the
can't.
final point is you talked about, obviously moving forward, investors being interested.
Yep.
Have you got any information about those investors and how much they're looking at investing and what is the
Well, we only had the
business plan?
meeting 2 weeks ago with my accountant and my financial advisor because...
I would imagine they put something in writing, or was it just talk?
No, it weren't just talk. I sent my books in. So when I contacted the accountant, I was on about selling Jurassica.
Yeah, I know, but who are these investors?
So I don't know the names of the investors.
You don't know their names of?
My accountant has told me that
Okay.
there's 2 people interested when he put it forward because I wasn't.
And how much were you looking at investing?
I just wanted to sell the business to
How
start
much
off
were
with,
they
and then
looking at
he said about investing. Sorry?
How much were they looking at investing?
How much are they looking at investing?
Yeah.
Well, I've asked for £50,000 to be
And what
able
was
to
the
move.
business plan? What would they take over the business? Would the
No,
business
that's just
in
a
shares?
5%. That's a 5% share into
5%?
the business. £50,000 to help me move forward. It's to basically get me out of this building and move to a bigger premises, which is what I need for the dinosaurs.
Are you just saying this to try to
No,
put
I've got
information
evidence
forward?
on WhatsApp chats with my financial advisor and my accountant as well.
Well, I would expect that into some sort of structured form, so you can actually explain to the committee what your plans are for the future.
All right. Well, I've explained them. I didn't realise I needed to bring.
Well, that's the problem. It's paperwork, isn't it?
Right.
You need
Paperwork is a problem with
It
me,
is
as
a
I've
problem.
stated. Yeah, massive problem. That's why I've got help moving forward with paperwork. So I always had extra help at school.
I'll just move on to the next question, because you've said that you've run other pubs.
2.
And you've said there was one down in Lincolnshire.
Yep.
So I think that when your emails, you said you'd run it for 5 years. Today you said 3.5
Well,
years.
I took it on for 12 months to start with, but I wasn't on the lease for the first 12 months.
Right.
I ran it under somebody else's
So how
name.
long was you running it?
So I run it, in total, 4 years, 8 months, but it was 3 years, 8 months on paperwork.
Right, so not 5 years, as you said in the
No,
email.
just short of 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but...
Yeah.
look,
Sorry for not being... sorry for not being exact with the date.
You
but yeah,
understand
it was 4 year, 8
the
months.
job that you do requires an element of consistency and precision in your language.
The job that I do,
and
my
paperwork.
main job role is a children's entertainer and a director of a business, yeah, but my main job role is the entertainment and the safety and the fun-filling environment with children.
Your
There's never been a problem with
your job
children.
as a designated premises
It's always
supervisor.
the after hours, isn't it? Sorry. Yeah.
Your job
Sorry.
is a designated premises supervisor, and you're in charge and responsible.
Say
and
that
you're
again, sorry.
designated premises supervisor.
I am, yes.
And you're responsible for ensuring the objectives of the licensing authority, aren't you? And you know what the objectives
What do you mean by
are?
that, sorry? Sorry, say that again in just simpler form.
Prevention of crime and disorder,
Yeah.
nuisance,
Yeah.
harm.
Which I do try my best to stop it, that's what I mean.
You try your best.
Yeah, of course I do. But I've been there. Every time I've been there, there's never been a problem. There's never been no trouble. There's never been no fights. Police have come out, have complied with them. There's been one incident of a 17-year-old.
All right.
That,
Look, I think we rehearsed.
and then others are just allegations.
Unfortunately,
the others are just new.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because everything you've said to the committee, and I'm trying to sort of get these points clarified, is it's either everybody else's fault.
No, not at all. If I were there and I'd not left the
You blame your
premises, none of this
ex-partner.
would have ever happened because it never happened in my other pubs.
You blame staff.
Yes, I've had a lot of problems with those.
Blame the engineer with the CCTV.
Because I'm crap with technology.
So it's everybody else's fault apart from
No,
yours.
because if I was the one that had got the money to financially move forward in getting CCTV and paying for call-out charges, then yeah. So it's not, I can't magically make something appear that's not there. If I ask for help and nobody else, mate, what am I supposed to do? I don't go to school no more where when you put your hand up, people are there to help you. That's where I struggle in my adult life, and that's been a struggle, not just for this business, just
All
in
right.
general.
I know
anyway.
we've covered that at some length. But effectively, you would have to agree it is the buck stops with you to ensure that disorder, crime, child safety in our premises.
Yeah, when I'm there, but when the licensee leaves other staff in charge,
do you accept?
They should stick to my rules.
Do you accept that is your responsibility?
Is that what, sorry?
That is your responsibility at all times.
As the
Yes.
director, yeah, as
Yes.
the director. But when I leave people in charge under my licence and stuff, they should do the job correctly and not sit with customers playing pool and then we catch them on CCTV and stuff and have to sack them.
Okay. But you accept that is the buck stops with you.
Sorry, the buck.
Buck stops with you. You're finally responsible.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For
Yeah,
everything that goes wrong.
That's what I said. I'm not denying that at all. No.
But now, it's running through everything that you've said that's taken place in your own personal life. Family members dying. You struggling with your own mental health. Being controlled. The financial problems. Do you think you're the most suitable person to actually ensure that this is done?
Well, yeah, that's why I've just said, moving forward, I've got 2 managers coming in to help me with that aspect because I struggle mainly with the paperwork side.
Have those managers been advertised? Have they been advertised? Have
Sorry?
they been advertised, interviewed?
Yes, they've been interviewed. I interviewed them both last week, yeah.
You advertised for them?
Sorry?
Did you advertise for them?
No, because what happened was the previous pubs in the area, these gentlemen have opened these pubs and stopped there for a couple of months and made them up and coming. And there was a talk about doing this. They was going to be my bar managers at the beginning of this year.
Have you passed this information over to the licensing authority to show your plan?
No, because it's literally, we only did the interview. I had an interview with them last Tuesday. I had a word with my financial advisor the week
you
before.
You came back from Copenhagen?
I've only just pulled my finger out my backside 4 weeks ago because I was ready to kill myself 4 weeks ago because I didn't care about myself anymore.
I thought you said that you was...
4 to 8 weeks ago.
I thought mentally you said you was back secure and steady moving forward.
Yeah, 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago when I had a reality check.
But would you even try to kill yourself 4 weeks ago?
Sorry?
Would you think about killing yourself 4 weeks ago?
Not 4 weeks ago, but I've not been in a good place. Up to 4 weeks ago, that's when I felt better moving forward. Literally this last month. See, what I believe, when one thing goes wrong in my life, everything else goes wrong around it. So one thing's gone wrong, everything's gone wrong. Do you know why? Because I work there mentally and physically.
No.
The minute I've been there mentally and physically again, and I've been back at that premises, everything's been working how it should be working now. And this is why I said I know I need to be there.
Okay, before we go down that rabbit hole, can we just clarify a second point? You run 2 other businesses.
No, I've got 2 in total.
2 in total?
2 in total. Jurassica and Celebrate and Create.
What's the shop?
Celebrate and Create. That's my shop.
So which one is it? What's the event? Is that the event so you
the
do all over the country?
It's a retail shop that sells balloons and we do events, parties, weddings. I work with HSBC. I work with...
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've described yourself as being hands-on, and would you accept that in this premises it's vital that you're there effectively all the time, hands-on?
Yeah, definitely.
But you've shown a pattern of not being there because you've been doing these other things.
Because the pub's not been open. This is what I'm trying to express to you. This last 12 months, it's been closed more times than it's been open. It's not been open. The restaurant is still closed now. The kids' party is still closed. I've not done a child's party or served any food in that pub for 6 months in the main entertainment side of the children. That door's been closed. It's not been open. So the only people that's been coming in are people in the over 16 side, which is the pool room side. There's been no children in that side, unless my children have come downstairs and come
so
to say hello.
you're saying that you could do all this other stuff because the pub's
because I've not been there. I've not needed to work as an entertainer, or I've not been there ordering to cook food because it's not been open. The only reason I have not been there for the last 12 months is because I've had a lot to sort out in my personal life. I've been up and down Boston sorting funeral arrangements out with my nanan. I've been up and down to my best friend's mum sorting that out.
So you accept all these things have happened because you've not been there hands-on?
Most of the time, yeah, because I've not been there. The first party that happened, that 17-year-old getting glassed, that's the first weekend in 2 years. That was the first weekend I've had off The first day I'd had off in 2 years of opening this pub, and an incident happened where a 17-year-old got glass.
I think it's been said you've been off for 2 months.
When?
When they spoke with Joanne.
No, 22nd of September. On the 22nd of September, that's when my life fell apart, 2022, because I got that eviction notice. And then I spent 8 weeks with my head up my backside because they was trying to take the pub off me, verbally, Lindsay Eastwood and Melanie Eastwood. And then it was the beginning of December when you guys got reported that this 17-year-old had been glassed. That was the first actual weekend I wasn't there.
Right, because this is an email that was sent to you on the 29th of December 2022.
Yeah.
Joanne has been in charge on the night in question, has been running the premises on your behalf for the last month and a bit.
Yeah, since the 22nd of September when
when
everything
not
went...
just the night before, she had been running the premises
well, again,
for
because
a month and a half.
because I might exaggerate a little bit on times.
Right.
22nd, so since the 22nd of September...
So what you're saying isn't accurate?
No, what I'm saying is since the 22nd of September, that's when my life fell apart. I miscarried a baby 3 weeks before that, which was enough to deal with, but then getting an eviction notice through the door saying that you and your children and your business has all got to relocate in 7 weeks.
I understand this.
My head went completely.
Personal circumstances and everybody
It
else's
went,
fault.
so yeah, I had to leave Joanne in charge because I just
Can I pause you? I just want to clarify the issue.
It.
Can I clarify the issue with the food? Because you sent a text on the 4th of October saying that the kitchen had not been open for 10 weeks.
Yep, correct.
There's no money in this at the moment.
Yep.
And that was 4th of October 2023.
Yep.
But again, I apologise because we looked at the website and it says literally the 3rd of October, only I think the words used. Three tables left for toddlers.
Oh, what, sorry?
3 tables left for toddlers.
Yeah, toddler event that we do. You don't serve food on the toddler events. They pay £3 per person to come in. We put all the ball games out on the floor. I get the baby dinosaurs out. The parents drink coffee, unlimited tea and coffee, and the children get a juice. That's it.
Right. But you're advertising for Christmas, aren't you, for food?
We've took it down. If you've noticed, we're not. You can come to the pub, check the diaries. There's not one single booking for food at all, and hasn't been for 6 months. We tried opening the kitchen. Instructions from health and safety. They said unless this roof was sealed tight, you can open that kitchen. And I realised that the roof was leaking and freaked out because I didn't want to get myself into trouble with the authorities. So I immediately said, close the kitchen. We're not serving food again because now the leak's gone from this section to that section of the building. So I immediately shut the kitchen down and we've not served any food in that kitchen.
Well, this is a post from the 16th of October, and it says buffet food. Please inform us when bookings of any allergies.
Yeah, because for buffet, so what we do with buffet...
So you do serve food?
No, you're getting that confused. The buffet, when we used to run Jurassic parties in Bellhouse Road, we used to get the buffets from a buffet company. And
this was only 16th of October.
Yeah, that was the plan. That was the plan, and then the kitchen was leaking, so we weren't going to be doing food in my kitchen, so then I went on the aspect of doing a buffet. But then we didn't sell any tickets, so the event got cancelled anyway. We didn't even go ahead with the event. I sold 4 tickets, which if you look on my phone, I have got the refund that we contacted the customers that had booked for that event, and we had to refund them under the purpose that we couldn't do the food. It was going to cost me more for the buffet than it was to actually sell the tickets, because the event was £5 for a child and £10 for an adult.
There's a lot of inconsistency in what you said and what the evidence has shown, isn't it?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you're actually advertising food and a buffet.
Yeah, because it was when I advertised, when I made that flyer 3 weeks before we was due to have that event, the kitchen was all right. The sun was out like this, it's fine. The kitchen, if you come now to the pub, the kitchen will look fine like some good food. If it starts raining, then it starts dripping through the ceiling in different places.
But on the 4th of October, you'd said the kitchen hadn't been open for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's inconsistent with what you've just said again.
You're contradicting what I'm saying now, though, because I've said...
I am contradicting what you're saying.
No, because the kitchen was closed. So the kitchen's been closed. I did an advertisement to try and open the kitchen. because we got told by the builders that the kitchen was going to be repaired and the kitchen was going to be all right to open next week. That's what he said to me. So I made an advert to try and do these events, to get an event in for 3 weeks after, which meant when the kitchen opened, we got 2 weeks from that date of the kitchen opening to sell tickets for this themed dining event. And then the kitchen during that time, they didn't live up to their timescale of repairing the kitchen. I spent £1,800 this year on the kitchen. Go and see the state of that kitchen roof that is now leaking, not in this section, because it's a big kitchen. It's quite a large kitchen. It's probably half of this room, maybe a little bit bigger than this room. But at first, it was this side that was leaking. When Health and Safety come out 12 months ago, and it was just starting to leak, they told me that I'd need to get it resolved, but I was still legally allowed to keep the kitchen open because it wasn't round the food preparation
you said a lot about the kitchen. You're talking a lot.
I've had a lot of problems with it. If you come and look at the kitchen roof, you can see the different...
31st of October, Halloween.
Yep.
Advertised with fresh served buffet, and it now says fully booked.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do...
This is about moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
You've said about being £17,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Not really getting the money in it, and basically doing whatever you can during this busy Christmas period through your other events.
And I've also got tax back to come back from the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking
about for the last 2 years.
I want to focus on this.
I
want to focus on this.
Sorry?
I want to focus on this.
Yeah.
So if your attention is elsewhere, your attention is not going to be on this business, is it?
Well, it's going to be on this business. I've been able to run the other pub before and run... So when I worked at the Players Lounge, which...
Okay, but you haven't been able to run this pub, have you?
Well, I have, yeah, because this pub doesn't open till 2 in the afternoon. My other business shuts at 2 in the afternoon. So I've come from one business and gone straight to the other.
The last 12 months, you accept that you've failed in this business?
Yeah, because the business has failed me, so I've failed the business,
right,
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I've got no further questions.
You're still hiding there somewhere. Have you got any questions for the license?
Yes, please, Chair. I'll try and be brief. But I'm also just trying to get some more clarity. Chantal, when we first met, which was a year ago now, you were really distressed, much like today. You said you were running several businesses and events, and I think Mr. Askham confirmed that during our visit on the 5th of October when you were away running an event. Could you just clarify how many businesses you're currently trying to run alongside Jurassica, please?
One other one next to Jurassica. I've got one business called Celebrate and Create, and then I've got Jurassica.
And is the other business the one that takes you away from the city, moving around different locations?
Well,
okay, thank you.
Well. So Jurassica, sometimes when you spoke to Rich, I've not just been with Celebrate and Create. With the dinosaurs, we offer promotional services. We do educational services to school visits. We do Christmas fairs. We're hired to do anything to entertain with the dinosaurs. So sometimes, which will also correspond to why we close Jurassica sometimes and just leave the public bar side open, I go where the money is. So if there's £1,500 to drive to Doncaster and do a 6-hour event outside entertaining children for 6 hours, I'm going to take that, because that money to earn £1,500 profit in Jurassica with selling food, paying wages, paying overheads, I've already realised that the pub and the hospitality is a lot harder ball game to make the money than what the dinosaurs are. So if you hired me to come here, it'd be a full profit. There'd be no overheads apart from the wages. So the last 12 months, I've had to go back to that because I've not had the aspect of food and I've not had the aspect of the children's parties in the premises due to the leaks of the building and things like that.
Okay, so that's why the other businesses have taken priority.
Yeah. It's
Thank
mainly
you.
because I've had to go where the money is, Julie, which is understandable when I'm a single parent with no help from my ex-partner, unfortunately.
Thanks. Could I just check a point of clarity again, another question, please, Chair? So, Chantal, you said just now the pub's not been open to children for 6 months. Have I understood that right? Is that what you said?
No, not to children. We've not, because of so in the dinosaur room, The toilets are leaking in there, so we've not took many bookings for children's parties. I've been encouraging people, if they want to book and want to inquire about a children's party, for them to get a community centre or something and us go there. So we've encouraged that a little bit more, but we've not served food or anything from the premises for the best part of 5 to 6 months, because so it's mainly the restaurant that's been closed. Which if the restaurant's closed, the front doors are closed on the front of the restaurant, so the children's section looks closed from outside. Children have been in the pub, obviously. I've got my own children, nieces and nephews and stuff coming as well. So there has been children in the pub, but there's not been like customers as children as such, like for children's parties or for themed dining events, because we've not really had any.
But are we agreed children have still been going to the pub? The reason I'm clarifying this is when I went on the 5th of October, there were 2 kids.
Yeah, probably
in the pub
my children. Yeah, probably
clear.
my children. My children live in the pub, and my nieces are there every day. Richard's got children and stepchildren. They're there every day, Neela. They come to see us while we're working and stuff, and play on the scooters outside and things. So.
Yeah. And I think on the 5th, the 2 kids there were with a customer. I'm just trying to be clear that children are still active in the premises.
Yeah, children still come. Yeah, children live in the building. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. There's another question, please, which is you've already acknowledged you're responsible for the management as the director.
Yeah.
You've talked some about people letting you down. Friends, your ex-partner. What I need to be clear about is, as the licence holder and the DPS of the premises, why would you leave the premises under control of someone who's not done any safeguarding training? They don't know the risk to children. They don't know how to ensure compliance and a safe environment when you're not there. So how do we have any reassurance that if you were to put new people in, we won't just continue with the same sort of lack of compliance?
Yeah, no, that's understandable, Julie. And moving forward, as I said, staff from day one will be trained. I'm the one that's going to be in charge of the interviewing and the hiring and the firing and the telling people where they need to be and allocating the jobs and stuff. I have, in the last 12 months, like I said, since the 22nd of September 2022, I did give in a little bit, and I did let other people run my business because my mental health weren't there and my sanity and everything else wasn't there. So I've struggled a lot myself this year and learnt a lot of new things about myself. And moving forward, with regards to leaving staff that's been in charge of the building, that's because on most occasions there's not been, if I'm not there, my nieces and nephews are not there, my children are not there. I'm there, the children are there. So when I'm there, the aspect of the safety of the children, my children, any customers' children, that's always like really high for me. I always make sure that I speak more to the kids than I do to the parents and to the adults, to be fair. I'm more there for the kids. I'll sit and colour with the children. I'll sit and do the baby dinosaurs with the children while the parents are playing pool, talking, whatever. So yeah, moving forward, it'll just be a case of going back to how it was when I had Jurassic parties. We never had a problem before when I run just my other business, and that I did that mostly on my own. And same when I moved in this pub for the first couple of the first 12 months, it worked fine. It's when I left the building I've realised everything's gone wrong. Yeah, which I apologise sincerely about.
Okay. Thanks for answering that. No more questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. So we now also start summing up. So would you like to sum up the application?
Thank you, Chair. So just to summarise, we as a licensing service, we've tried on several occasions to get Chantel to comply with the licence conditions. I feel that there's no full revocation of the licence is reviewed.
Yes, very brief. Obviously, a lot of questions were quite direct to the issues of concerns. Clearly, the wheel has come off this business, and whether that's down to personal circumstances method of working ADHD and other disabilities, as well as everything else going on in Chantel's life, including trying to stretch herself too thin with the financial issues and financial problems. I said that the wheels come off, and I'm not sure whether the wheel was ever fully on with this business. But part of the development of the questions was to see whether there was an option for the wheels to be put on moving forward into the future, so that there was some chance. It's been made very clear that because of the financial situation, there is no intention to be hands-on within the business. She's going to be elsewhere, developing the other work that's going on, and most of the other answers are effectively I'm going to do rather than I've done, which is unfortunate. There was an opportunity to bring an awful lot more paperwork along today, plans, proper structure about where things were going forward, which would normally be expected when a business is trying to be saved and trying to convince individuals that they are now changed and moving forward. That hasn't been provided. No evidence has been put on the table, and effectively, because of this exaggeration and the changing of consistencies of stories, I think the police are now in a position where they are completely convinced, effectively, that there are risks of disorder, risks of nuisance, and children being harmed in this premises moving forward. So they still support the application or the review with the intention of revoking this licence.
Thank you. Julie, would you like to sum up your representations, please?
Just briefly, thank you, Chair. I think that whilst we understand the mitigating circumstances around Chantel's other businesses and personal circumstances, which we sympathise with, for us, the focus has to be on the premises licence at Jurassica and the reassurances that we need that it will be a safe environment, and the priority in that environment will be the protection of children from harm. It must be a priority. That's our summing up. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. And finally, Chantel, your opportunity to sum up as well.
No, I just agree with you. All years ago that I was going to spend £25,000 on something and put my love life into one person for it all to fail in the same year. So please just take everything into consideration with regards to me as a person. I'm only human and I can only do so much before I do need a bloody good scene to or telling off. And trust me, this year has been the hardest year of my life, and it can never ever be this bad ever again. So moving forward with myself, mentally and physically, I know what I need to do. I know where I've gone wrong, and I've never ever ever put any child in any harm, no matter what their reports might say. I know that no child has been in any harm at my premises. A 17-year-old that was 18 in 9 days that lied about his age, he shouldn't have been in that premises pretending they were over 18 anyway, and I know people do that, but I can't, even if he'd have had an idea or anything like that, it'd have still been underage drinking there. So there's certain things that you have to look at as to people do lie to get themselves into places and stuff, but I'm not that type of person. I'm just trying to make a living for 2 children, for it to benefit their life, because I love children, I adore children, and I absolutely adore my job, and I know that I'm good at what I do because everybody tells me I'm good at what I do. So I am sorry that I'm not very good with paperwork, and I weren't very good in school in that sense, but you know, from what my teachers told me that I was going to become to what I have become, I'm proud of myself, and I will stand there and say that over anybody that doesn't really know me. And I'd like you all to come to Jurassica and see me literally working, because you will see the energy and the efforts that I have got to try my absolute best to make this a success. And moving forward, I will take any help and guide me anywhere to make it a success, because I'm not putting all this effort in after 8 years of hard-earned money to just scrap it and just forget about it. I did it
to modify the conditions of the licence, B, to exclude a licensable activity from the scope of the licence, C, remove the designated premises supervisor, D. Suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months. E. Revoke the licence. Or F. Reject the application for review. Thank you.
Thank you. I can thank everyone for the contributions and for the patience. We are now going to take legal advice and come to a decision on this. And while we do that, could I ask that people leave the room, and we will call you back in when we've reached that decision. What was I saying? Welcome back everyone, and thank you for your time and your representations this morning, which have been helpful to the committee. It hasn't been an easy decision to make. We struggle on these, and obviously we have got real sympathy for your personal circumstances and things that have been through. We can see why you might have struggled. But I'm afraid what we have also seen is evidence that the licensing objectives have been impacted by your management of this premises over certainly the last 12 months, and we don't feel that we've seen sufficient evidence to show that the licensing objectives wouldn't continue to be impacted by the continued licensing of this premises. So the decision of the licensing subcommittee today is to revoke the licences as requested by the responsible authorities. The running of that premises and the allowing of that premises to function, undertaking licensable activities, would breach the objectives around crime and disorder, which we've seen evidence of, around safeguarding of children that we've seen evidence of, and we didn't feel we could come to any other decision today. So that's our decision. There is a right of appeal, obviously, against that decision, and Sam, if you want to detail that right.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so you have the right of appeal, which would be within 21 days to the Magistrates' Court. So following the hearing today, you'll receive a notice that will set out all the evidence that members considered, how they came to the decision, and just confirming that decision. So you can use that notice should you wish to log the appeal. In that situation,